opening kickoff to the final play.
Touchdown!
Your home of the pass. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Patriots are back out on the practice field yesterday after going through their bye week. Marcus Jones was missing, but rookie tackle Caden Wallace was out there after sitting out with a left leg injury since week 4 of the season. The team will visit the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. ESPN and The Athletic are reporting that former Patriots head coach Bill Belichick continues to discuss the vacancy at the University of North Carolina. A resolution to his connection to this job is expected sometime by the end of the week. The Bruins will kick off a 5-game road trip tonight in Winnipeg. Ryan Johnson and Bob Beers have the pregame at 7:30 and the face-off at 8 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. David Pastrnak was not at practice yesterday. He is listed as questionable for tonight with what the team is calling an upper body issue. The Major League Baseball winter meetings are continuing in Dallas. The Red Sox are interested in signing free agent third baseman Alex Bregman and playing him at second base. Also, the Seattle Times is reporting that earlier this offseason, the Red Sox offered first baseman Tristan Casas to the Mariners for either Bryce Miller or Brian Wu, who are both starting pitchers, and were turned down. The Sox have also announced a pair of exhibition games against a Mexican League team in Monterrey on March 24th and 25th. That's right before they open up the regular season 2 days later in Texas. And Colorado two-way player Travis Hunter, Boise State running back Ashton Genty, Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel, and Miami QB Cam Ward are the 4th finalists this year for the Heisman Trophy. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Shaws and Star Market Foundation. They've teamed with Trent Frederick for Feeding the Puck for families to help fight food insecurity. Learn how they're assisting the Greater Boston Food Bank at 985thesportshub.com/feedthepuck. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
When sports news breaks in Boston,
Officially from the Boston Bruins.
it breaks here.
Boston Bruins general manager Don Sweeney announced today, November 19th, the team has relieved Jim Montgomery of his duties as head coach.
For the latest updates
Associate coach Joe Sacco will assume interim head coaching duties.
and the analysis,
To me, this isn't enough. I think they got to shake up the locker room.
stay right here.
We'll see how this goes.
Boston's home for breaking sports news. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Afraid hello. 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 Mm-hmm. Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Open him up with a football.
98.5
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na 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 na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Hey! Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Can't even believe it.
Make every moment more with Sports Hub, Mr. John Heyman. That's true.
I'm being serious, yeah.
Yeah, we could revisit that call maybe this break. Because I am firmly on the side of John Heyman on that one. And you can give us a call, 617-779-0985. Watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. I learned a couple things before the show today. One is John Wallach does not have a bye. There are 4 byes in our league that includes Mike Lockhart and Dan Roach and a bunch of other people, and our fantasy football league. And John does not have a bye. I, having finished first place in the league, have a bye, and then I will play the worst of the remaining teams.
They reseed after the first round? See, I don't even know that.
I would have to imagine no, right? Like I would imagine you just play the team that lost.
How long you been doing this, Waller?
This is my 3rd year.
Oh, okay. I thought you've been doing it for like 10 years or something.
I've been doing it for a long time, and this is the first time I've ever gotten a bye. And I usually don't make the playoffs.
It's 12-team league. Top 6 teams get it. I think there are only 2 byes. I could be wrong.
There's 4 byes.
4 byes. Okay.
Yeah, you probably don't know that because you're dumb. But do you know what the name of his team is? It's unfair because you do, but you know what it is? The name of
Wallach's team?
Yeah.
No, I only heard that other team name.
It's Pass the Mayo.
Yep.
Oh, that is Wallach's team name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says pass it. I got no time for this. It's because he's Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, I get it. I guess it's okay for Wallach.
I spent maybe half a second thinking about this.
Maybe spend a little more time.
Obviously, what's your team name again, Fred?
Chess Beavers.
Uh-huh.
Chess Beavers. I would actually play you.
Oh, is that right? If I win my first round?
If you beat Daniel, you're playing Dan Roach.
Okay.
If you guys win, the 2 8 and 6 teams, if you guys win, I will play you.
Huh?
It has to reseed. Yeah.
What place did I finish? I hadn't looked this morning. 3rd, 4th, 5th?
You finished 4th.
4th, okay. So Dan and I are the 4-5 matchup.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, because 7 and 8 don't make it.
Yes.
Oh, consolidation. Okay, yeah. All right, so you're right. There are 2 buys.
And you got one of them.
Right. And
Okay.
then the James Bassett Hounds, he has the 2nd.
Okay.
And then you are playing Dan Roach. And then I don't know who Wally and Dan are the other 2, the 6-3 matchup. And I play the winner. They might reseed. I might play the 6th seed. Yeah, you're right. I might play the 6th seed if the 6th seed were to win.
Do you guys have some wacky thing that the person who finishes dead last has to do for next year's league?
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean, it's not wacky. It's extremely sexual, but it's not wacky.
You have to get breast implants for the year.
That's right.
Yeah. Just full-on sex change.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but something, I don't want to get into it, but you wouldn't keep your money this year if you won it, would you?
Probably not.
Yeah, but something terrible happened to someone in the league, and I'm not going to give them. I'm not going to keep the money. I want to win,
Sure.
but I'm not going to keep the money.
Yeah, for that reason.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
about that.
Yeah, so
How much money is it?
not a lot.
No, it's
It's not a lot.
And
It's
is it-
12 times 75, and you only get a little bit of that, so it's not that much money.
It's not a.
See, I don't think that would be enough to keep my interest for an entire season.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't either, but neither would. It would have to, again, the only thing that would keep my interest would be if I was scared to lose. And that would be, and I don't like getting into those kinds of situations with money. But if you've done it long enough and been back, first of all, you have to try or you're a dick. Because if you don't try, you're screwing the league up for everyone else.
Yeah.
So, and I've been that person like in the beginning, and I haven't done that for several years. And the thing is that if you've lost enough and you just keep losing, it is nice just to occasionally win.
Yeah, the clouds have parted for Fred this year. There have been many, many years where Fred has finished out of the playoffs.
And I did the whole draft myself this year. I did not automatic draft anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the 3rd string Jets running back off the waiver wire. Started him, he had 15 points. Kaboom.
There you go.
And we also learned something else before this. So that's John Pastameo. So if you see that in your league, just know the guy stole it from John.
Okay.
Hardy is not only playing pickleball, he is now you're taking lessons for the extreme game of pickleball.
It's like an intro thing because I don't know the rules. The only time I've ever played pickleball was in our own driveway. It was like a COVID thing, just to get the kids outside doing something because you
let them outside.
Well, not to the Arboretum in which we tried going to once over there in the Rozzy JP line because he had to wear masks inside the Arboretum. I said, well, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in the history of life in the world. Yeah. But, so I'm like, all right, let's go outside.
You know how many lives that saved having masks on at the Arboretum?
At the Arboretum, I know.
Your kids could have gotten COVID, and then they would have been ill for at least 2 days.
So I am taking Intro to Pickleball Part 1 today at noon.
First of all, noon is a bold time to be taking something.
I know. Now, I have...
You need a whole hour for the rules?
Yeah, because we're going to pickle it up a little bit too, I'm sure.
There are so many rules to pickleball. I can't believe it. Why is it at 2 hours?
It's so easy.
Maybe 3.
They said I got to bring a water bottle, so I'm assuming we're going to get our sweat on a little
You're
bit.
taking the accelerated course.
You have to be and you're in your early 50s. You have to be by far the youngest person that's going to be there.
Oh, at noon
At
on a
noon
Tuesday?
on a Tuesday.
Oh, sure.
Playing pickleball. Pickleball was something that these places all invested in that's going to end up just screwing them all.
You get all the runoff from the senior center.
I'm going to be like Kramer playing ping pong down there at Del Boca Vista.
Yeah, or playing pool with Mr. Costanza. Like my club, I had never seen it, but they went all in on this building project that was pickleball courts, indoor pickleball courts, and whatever that cost me. And it's something I'll never see, and that no one I know will ever play. But people are like, we need pickleball. Now, where my parents live, which are, real old people, the pickleball courts are like jammed constantly. But they're kind of like a hybrid indoor-outdoor thing. Oh, one day I'll have you guys come to Tennessee, just have my dad show you around and explain the majesty and the feats of engineering that all these things are. But yeah, you're going to be in a very, very awkward situation.
Well,
I
the
think.
only reason why I'm doing it is so that I can go and play with, and just looking for stuff to do like during the winter, different things. My son does play tennis, but indoor tennis is like this whole thing. And unless he's got something to play with, I don't want to go play indoor tennis. I suck. I'll go play with him like outdoors. We'll go to like the high school tennis courts and I'll play. But I think pickleball is one of those great equalizer sports. I think, you can just show up and play. And whether you're really good or really bad, is there that much difference?
I don't know how you could be really bad at pickleball.
It's kind of that, and very insulting, I'm sure, to the pickleball players out there. But oh well.
If anyone's sitting there saying pickleball is hard, it's really easy. There's very little movement, and there you have a court right there.
Oh yeah,
on
they
TV.
just they opened the big pickleball thing in Natick.
The Natick Collections, they have a former department store has been overhauled into multi-tiered pickleball courts.
Just in time to fail. Because you know what this reminds me of, Hardy, is that I belonged to the Mount Auburn Club back when we were in Brighton. There was a tennis club. It was like a bubble called the Mount Auburn Club.
Yeah.
It was a tennis club with like a little workout facility. Because I liked playing tennis. I liked it a lot, but I didn't really play. So I was like, you know what? This will be good. It will be fun to exercise, and I'll meet people. And I, like you, had the availability of like noon, and I'd be in like Brighton 11 in the morning. Everybody I played, no one was under the age of 60. And they were, as John probably would know, they were people that were just like playing against a concrete wall. You would hit, and then it would go boop, boop, back, and then you'd hit, and then it would go boop, boop, back. Like they just like I'd be like running around like hitting the ball hard, and they'd take like quarter swings just to get the ball over the net, and it was just so annoying.
I used to play my father when I was a little younger, and my father is 30 years older than me, and every time I'd hit the ball as hard as I could, and he would hit the ball just hard enough to get it back over the net, and I do all the running. It was the most annoying damn thing, and after a while, I just stopped playing with him, and he got upset. Why won't you play with me? Because it's effing annoying playing with you. I can't play with you anymore.
You're not really playing.
You're not really playing. I'm doing all the work over here.
Yeah, what you do is you take a quarter swing, and it's what they do. They don't, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, they don't rear back, right? Like they don't put the racket back and then twist forward. They hold the racket like at their side and go pump.
It's kind of like a quarter swing block back at you. It's the most annoying damn thing, and you can't pass it. For some reason, you can't get it by them. That's the most annoying thing of all. They should have no mobility, and yet it's like a human backboard.
And I remember having other problems with it, but they were all like, I was in my 30s, and they were like all old, and I'm like, ugh.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm not going to make any friends because these people are going to be dead. I'm like, this is no good.
Those pickleball courts, though, like the ones that they're putting over in the empty space in Natick.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not going to be there for 20 years, but if it's there for 6 months and they can get people into the mall and they can at least make enough to pay for the setup and tear down of it, that's probably all they're going for. I'm sure they have. I'm sure, in their wildest dreams, this is going to be a huge moneymaker. But does it actually get people to go to the mall?
We'll see where we are in a couple of weeks.
How many times have you walked by the ping pong place in like Seaport or wherever the hell it is? There's like a big ping pong place. Like it's like really like nice commercial property downtown or Seaport or whatever the hell it's supposed to be called. I can't imagine anyone's ever in there. It's this big place.
Marcy has wanted to go to that before for like a couple's night out, and being the prick that I am, I'm like, hold up, you wanna get in the car. Number one, you want me to get dressed, and shower and stuff, and you want to go out on a Saturday night. You want to drive to the Seaport to play ping pong with. I know you don't want to play. And I maybe the guy and the other couple, wants to play, but we have a ping pong table downstairs that you never, you're never down there with us when we're playing. Why do we have to go to that? I name all the places you can go. Seaport on a Saturday night is maybe at the very bottom of the list.
It's called Spin.
Yeah,
and also,
and I hear it's great.
Oh, yeah,
I don't want to go.
There used to be a place near the Garden.
And it's a huge scene.
Yeah.
A huge scene. I mean,
bet.
that's why Marcy wants to go there. Is the best DJs and all like the local
Good
models.
food, good times, awesome. I don't want to get in the car and drive to the Seaport on Saturday night. No, thank you.
No, and you'd be bored playing ping pong in 10 seconds anyway. Ping pong's something where you're waiting for something else to do.
No, I prefer to have something to do when we go out. I
hate that. I don't like playing pool or ping pong.
Oh, God,
I
love
games.
it. Oh, God. You tell me I got to sit down and have a 3-hour dinner, I might just step in front of a bus instead. But if you tell me you were going to a place where you can throw a dart or, ping a pong or shoot some pool, okay, now I'm interested. Even if it's a, frickin' claw machine. I'm like, yeah, let's go over there and do that.
I'd rather have a claw
I can't
machine.
sit still.
I'd rather have a claw machine than play pool, darts, or ping pong. Well, go ahead, John.
The odd thing about that ping pong place that used to be near the Garden is they were people who work there. I don't know if it's like it at this place too, whose only job was to retrieve your ping pong ball once it got off the table and get it back to you, to speed things up a little
Well,
bit.
Susan
that's nice.
Sarandon built the place because she became obsessed with ping pong in New York City, and then everyone went, "Oh, that's a really good idea." And then it's gonna, just like Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy are building those indoor facilities in New York that are going to be complete failures.
Oh, I didn't know they were building more. I know they built the one down in Florida where they're going to have their big league. Well, they were going to have it last winter until the roof caved in because it snowed once or it rained or something. So that's starting here, I think, in like another month maybe. The indoor league, the Tiger Rory simulator.
Can't wait. Can't wait. I'm sure the golf purists will love it.
It's not even purists. Is it going to be good TV? No. You want to know why? Because it is going to be wholly dependent on the personalities of the people involved. And 90% of those guys have crap personalities.
Well, Rory's electric. I don't think you give him nearly enough credit.
Rory might be one of the more affable guys. But like, remember the Tiger Phil, the big match?
Yeah.
That was completely dependent on the personalities and they both have crappy personalities. Tiger is, I don't know what he is. Phil is just the guy who would throw his best friend under the bus and send him to federal prison for 5 years for insider trading.
The last 10 years, Tiger's really tried to revamp his personality. He did that video with Barstool. Remember that?
No,
of course.
Oh no, he did. He did a video with Barstool where he hit a long drive off his knees or something.
Oh yeah. I did.
I mean, he's done his best to try and get himself into the mainstream.
It's not, and you know what? That's fine. It's enough to be the greatest golfer to ever play the game. You've accomplished that. I don't need you to be a good person. I don't even need you to be a faithful husband and a good father. What do I care? None of my business. I'm not holding you up in front of my kids and saying, be like this, just in terms of a person who existed on this planet. It's like Tom Brady. Tom, it's enough to be the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. You don't have to be good at broadcasting or be a good owner or anything else. Just, just relish the fact that you were the best to ever do something that millions of people have tried. And I don't need anything else from Tiger, but I also don't need to watch that indoor, whatever the hell it's going to be. I'll check it out.
How are they doing?
I'll check it out once, but beyond that, my gut tells me it's not going to be something you feel compelled to watch.
All right.
We will be. All right. What's the problem?
John was going to add something to it, and it's really time to wrap this up. All right.
Will you tell me off the air, John?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys do whatever you want off the air. You guys keep it going.
Fred's ever vigilant about taking breaks. So we got to stop here.
Hey, listen. You make a pencil sharpener.
I appreciate your efforts, Fred.
Thank you. I'm kind enough not to make some noise.
Time to back away from the table.
I mean, we got a little wrapped up. Hardy got a golf thing going, and then you started wanting to add to him going on it, and then so it was time to stop it because it's 6:20.
Okay.
All right, we'll be back.
The golf club.
I don't blame Hardy. I don't begrudge him, but it's like I begrudge you, John, because he went on and on and on, and then you went.
I don't think I sound like that.
To keep him going, which was a little ridiculous.
Very salient point to make.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You stepped on it.
All right, come up with a better name, you unoriginal prick.
Go grab a cup of Joe. You and I
Sure.
keep talking.
Yeah, go water cooler talk this out.
I like this.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Touch.
Have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch the game last night?
What's happening?
Scaring the hell out of me in here.
Just a short bet. I thought we had more time.
Oh, it was going on for a while.
I was looking at something. Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what happened last evening?
There was Monday Night Football last night as the Cincinnati Bengals were in Dallas to take on the Cowboys, who have done nothing but win in Dallas so far this year. Oh, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. And the favorite stat being thrown around over the last couple of weeks here is that Jake Paul has as many wins at Jerry World this season as the Cowboys.
I like Jerry World.
Jerry World.
He made a world, Jerry.
What is the official name? Is it AT&T Stadium?
Yeah.
Is that who's got the naming rights there? All right. Well, it looked pretty good for the Cowboys early.
They snap on fourth down. He throws it in the end zone to the right side. Lands alone. Touchdown. C.D. Lamb on fourth down. And the Cowboys score first. 11 yards from Rush.
There we go. It was 7-0 in the first quarter. Joe Burrow had something to say about it, though.
Burrow waiting for the shotgun snap at the 10. Joe catches. Short drop. Fires for Chase. And it is caught for the touchdown. Jamar Chase. That is his NFL-leading 14th touchdown.
Now, did we all see Joe Burrow's outfit going into the game last night?
I did not.
Okay. I can only describe them as black pajamas that had like Technicolor horizontal stripes going across both what appeared to be the blouse and the bottoms of these things. I'm not saying you got to wear a suit and tie to the game, but you talk about trying too hard. This is an outfit that was either picked out for him or I can only hope he's getting paid to wear by somebody. Have you found it there?
Yeah. Oh, my. Okay.
How would you describe it?
Pimp.
Yeah, but
now I mean, does he have a stable?
No,
no. All it's missing is the velvet overcoat.
Does he have a chalice?
I mean, yeah. I mean, does he have a bottom girl that he has to, that he lets sleep with him? That's almost like his girlfriend, but still, she better have that money. I mean, pimping, as we know, is not easy.
It's true.
I mean, he's got to turn him out, and he's got to do that by talking sweet. I can't find a photo of it.
All right. Well, let's jump to the fourth quarter. If that Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase sounds familiar to you, there's a reason for that.
Joe has the football. He'll look to throw. Fires a pass. Caught by Jamar Chase. Down the sideline. 20, 15, 10. Touchdown! Bengals! 1:01 to go. A 40-yard strike.
But what happened right before that, Hardy?
That was actually the wrong order, and I apologize for that. So here's what happened. There was about 2 minutes left to play, and Cincinnati is forced to punt. Okay, No big deal. They're gonna punt, and they're gonna try and get a stop, and the game is tied at this point at 20.
All right, here's the punt by Ryan Rako.
Oh, got it.
Ball is blocked. Oh, no! Touch it. The Bengals are going to have the ball.
Oh, no.
You can't touch it when it's blocked beyond the line of scrimmage, and the Bengals are going to have it at the 45.
Now, credit to the radio guys who immediately had the right call and the right ruling down there, because watching on TV or watching the highlights, there's always, a little bit of what the hell happened. What happened was, as they said, the punt was blocked, and then the ball goes beyond the line of scrimmage because it was one of these weird wobbly blocks that somehow makes it past the line on a 4th and 8, I believe it was. And then once it's touched by the now offensive team, which would be Dallas, it is a live ball, and it was recovered by Cincinnati.
Right, and they kept showing the Leon Lett thing
That's
as evidence of another snafu.
Now, John and I were talking about this morning, Fred. You're the Dallas player. You're out there on a special team. You have to know the rule. I get it. But in that instance where there's a different ruling for the ball behind the line of scrimmage as opposed to past the line of scrimmage, everybody's swarming toward the ball. How is it not your instinct to try and scoop that ball?
It is your instinct, but the one thing I'll say is that he would have gotten hit immediately. So the thing is that I would have wanted to get out of the way, because if he would have picked it up, they could have just knocked it out of his hands. Like he had no room to run. Where I would have excused it is if he was like kind of in space, because the ball bounced up into him.
Yeah.
And if he was in space and like kind of running and he like fielded it off the ground and then took off and to score a touchdown, that I could understand.
He was some practice squad kid trying to make a play, and maybe he was like, you know what, I don't want to give up all this field position in a tie game. I kind of understand it, but, man, you're absolutely right. He's surrounded by people.
Right. He would have been hit immediately.
My instinct would have been to get the hell out of the way, because what if I catch this thing, there are three guys on top of me, and then I fumble it?
And that's something that there's no doubt that they haven't practiced a million times.
There has to be better communication as well. Stay away from it. Somebody behind him has to tell him, look, the ball was not say these things, but ball, whatever phrase you use for block, get away from the ball.
Yeah, because under no scenario, because even if it was it went off the side of the kicker's foot, like, you're still not supposed to touch it. Like, you're supposed to let it sit. So yeah, I don't excuse that. And that's not something that like the Cowboys special teams coaches haven't gone over a million times. I mean, they've gone. There's only so many things you have to go over with those guys.
True.
You know, that's one of them. And I'm looking at Joe Burrow. I don't even think it's that big a deal.
Oh, the outfit?
Yeah. I think he's trying to be cute.
I don't know if he is. He's a bit of an odd cat. All right, how did the Cowboys take it, this loss? Let's try and check in with Jerry Jones, who's kind of got that old man low speak going on now. He's getting harder and harder to understand, just in terms of volume.
He's got that Michael Douglas thing. He's been with so many women, it's gotten him the hepatitis of the throat.
He's kind of got the thing where maybe because of his hearing aids, he thinks he's speaking very loudly, but he's not.
Wait, if you told me
is that you? Is that you? Jerry, it's your friend, John Henry.
If you told me that going into the end of that fourth quarter, all they had was 20 points, I would have taken that with a smile and said, if we can hold them to 20, that gives us our best chance, and we did that.
Yeah, okay. Micah Parsons not taking it well.
I wasn't even really grasping what was going on. Nick made a great play. Then, I asked the ref, explain what happened. He told me that we touched the ball. It was definitely a huge momentum shift. I mean, we just caught a huge stop. We're going to a 2-minute drill. It's just real hard you think to believe you could pull that game out from that situation. That hurts.
I don't think Micah Parsons got his hands on Joe Burrow until the middle of the third quarter last night.
Yeah.
Then Mike McCarthy also taking the loss pretty tough.
Would you say that this is maybe the toughest pill to swallow as far as a non-playoff loss?
Is this a tough pill to swallow there, Coach? Dallas, the Houston guys.
Yeah, well, when it comes to pills, is this one you gotta take with a sarsaparilla? This one you chew up.
Is this one of them horse ivermectins that also stove off COVID?
This one of the ones you put in your dairy and let it evaporate.
Would you say that this is maybe the toughest pill to swallow as far as a non-playoff loss you've experienced as a head coach?
Oh, definitely, because, where it puts us in the season.
I'm running out of breath at the end of the question. Is this the toughest pill to swallow in terms of a non-playoff loss? In your history.
Try to judge the non-playoff losses during the regular
Now, excuse me.
losses. Are they all the same?
When I pull my suspenders with my thumbs when I ask this question. Now, You know, I was here when Mr. Landry was here, and he was rooting his tootin' head coach.
Back when we used to have ceiling fans going on here in this conference room.
You know, Roger Staubach was a military man. We had a guy, he was so tall, we called him Too Tall. He was 6'3". Yeah. Him and a fellow with a mustache, they were co-MVPs of the Super Bowl.
We understand that we dug ourselves a hole. You know, with the 7 losses coming in here. So
Dig yourself a hole, you get that sweet, sweet black gold Texas tea.
There you go.
We had to have this one tonight. Yes, definitely. This is a very very disappointing loss.
We gonna cry about it?
Go ahead and squirt a few.
Come on there, pussy. Why don't you cry?
Cowboys now 5-8. They're 1-6 at home this season.
Did you see Troy Aikman, who was a guest on one of the Dallas All Sports radio stations, said without reservation that he thinks Mike McCarthy is going to be back next year as this team's head coach.
I don't know why that's so ludicrous. They don't have their quarterback. They don't have their quarterback. If I looked at that game last night, I don't think that Mike. I think that's good by Mike McCarthy. You have a Cooper Rush at quarterback, and you held Cincinnati. You should have held them to 20 points. And I'm not putting the guy making the special teams mistake on Mike McCarthy. I would just be very careful about who I fire. Hardy and I were talking about this yesterday. I have a hot take. Would you care to hear it, Jonathan?
Sure.
I think that Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator of the Lions, has a better chance of being a great head coach than Ben Johnson.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Is because Aaron Glenn was a captain when he played. He was a defensive player. He was like really well respected by players in the organization. He, as Hardy will tell you, he has that defense even when they're undermanned, swarming to the ball. Apparently, like he's a great motivator. Now, Ben Johnson, it seems to be like a great offensive mind, but everyone is like, oh, I want him to be my team's head coach. I want him to be my team's head coach. You don't know anything about Ben Johnson. Like, I know about Aaron Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know anything about Ben Johnson. So my point is this, is that I don't know how many coaches are better than Mike McCarthy out there. I don't know who you're going to get. Like Vrabel, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, and then I'm not positive who else is like out there that you're so sure about.
Jerry's willing to outbid anyone for the head coach that he wants. So
he's never done it before.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, if Dallas chooses to move on, Jerry, I would imagine, would get whoever it is he wanted.
But he doesn't do that.
Well, I think the time is much shorter now for Jerry. I think that there's some more urgency.
All right, so who would he pay to get?
Well, I like Ben Johnson would have been my call, but you say
so you know Ben Johnson's better than Mike McCarthy?
I think that Mike McCarthy has not done well since he got there. I think that you mentioned the quarterback. Dak Prescott was under 500 before he got hurt, right? I think he was like 3-5 before he got hurt. It wasn't like Dallas was playing well with Prescott as quarterback. So I think there's something wrong with the leadership of this team. They're not performing well, and yet they're banged up, but they still have very good players on that roster. You know, you have Parsons on one side, Lamb on the other side. I mean, you have guys that are ranked in the top 5 or top 3 of their position on either side of the ball.
I get it, though.
Well, that's like the Jets.
It's always been a tough call.
And they made a head coaching change, too.
I think it's always been a tough call with McCarthy, or it seems to be a tough call each year because it's a disappointing finish. I mean, he has had 5 seasons now, 1 playoff win to show for it, but 3 consecutive 12-5 records. How do you fire a coach after a 12-5 season, regardless of how disappointed you are with their postseason performance?
Because this team should be going deeper in the playoffs. They sure as hell shouldn't be this bad.
But to Fred's point, how can you assure yourself that the next coach you bring in is going to be somebody who's going to get you back to like that 12-5?
And have you evaluated your talent correctly? And yeah, you know, Dak Prescott, it looks like he got hurt in the Atlanta game, but I mean, the losses they had before that included the 49ers, the Lions, the Ravens. They beat the Steelers. Like, I don't know. I'm not so certain that. And then they won a couple in a row they beat the Commanders and the Giants with Cooper Rush. They should have won last night. I don't know if I'm firing Mike McCarthy.
I think he's going to get fired.
Prescott loves him too. Prescott's been campaigning for him, and you're stuck with Prescott.
Oh, sure.
So I'm not sure I want to start screwing around with that because things could go from disappointing to bad real quick. You need someone and if Prescott likes him.
Well, Jerry has always erred on the side of caution with his head coaches.
That is certainly true.
Jason Garrett had that job about 5 years longer than he should have.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. But
I don't know if he's going to keep him or not. I'm just I'm not positive who these big great names are. I mean, I think when you fire a coach, you better be pretty crappy and and have a history of losing the team.
This year they can't get out of their own way.
The Cowboys played hard
last night.
I'm talking about a Chicago team that just quit, a Jets team that's a disaster. The Cowboys are still playing hard. I just would be a little careful. Mike McCarthy's got a pretty good resume. How much of it is him? How much is his talent been overvalued? I don't know. It's interesting. It could go either way. There's no real correct answer. We'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines. Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Be listening for your chance to score a 4-pack of ice skating passes with Skate Rental for Boston's Winterfest, the city's largest, most immersive winter wonderland at Hood Park in Charlestown. Enjoy light displays and ice skating rink, live entertainment, festive foods, local vendors, social media moments, and more. Go to the winterfestboston.com to learn more.
I take you don't like this one, huh?
No.
Okay. We'll put that on the no pile.
What is it about this that you like?
I like having something that sounds a little bit different. I like this kind of frenetic beat in the background. It's got the little synth vibe to it as well.
Yeah, but I got to talk over it.
And you did a fine job.
All right.
I really like it. Can you send me this?
Are you,
What is this?
are you taking the piss, mate? Are you
First of all, this
serious?
isn't even a drummer.
No, it's a little drum loop. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a drum machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so congratulations on the 4-year-old that could do that. I mean, I could do that.
Okay.
Who is that, Adam?
It's an artist called Junior Varsity Cam.
Yeah, maybe not try so hard.
You don't have a lot of respect for drummers. I'm not saying you have no respect.
I have respect for
drummers.
drummers. I don't have respect for people that touch it with their fingers and then loop it.
I think
don't
we should-
That's what Jay
difficult.
Dilla did, and you love Jay Dilla. Come on.
I like Jay Dilla's beats in songs as totals. I don't go oh wow, that break beat that he put in is like insane. I like Jay Dilla's, the way how he took little tiny parts of songs and created a symphony of like different obscure parts of different songs, or looped an existing beat. I don't particularly think that anyone does in a drum machine is that interesting. No.
I think we should bring in a drum machine, like bring in a Roland or something for Fred and see if he could create us a nice beat.
Oh.
How about, yeah. There's no doubt, 100%, 1,000 times, it would be the most boring bit of all time.
Well, holiday book.
Yeah, a holiday book. Why don't you for Christmas? You can get me a rolling drum machine.
Nah.
I'll make a great beat out of it, and then I'll pee all over it.
Yeah, kicks on the 1, 7 and 11, snares on the 5 and 13.
I'll jam it on the 1 if I have to.
Yeah.
You can jam it on the 1.
Jam it on.
That was the third episode of the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What else is going on?
Oh, the Patriots made all their superstars available yesterday to talk to the people, and we got to hear from Austin Hooper.
Again, individual choice on what you want to do, how you want to handle it, if you want to be
talking
professional
abortion.
or you want to be a young player. So at the end of the day, everyone's an adult now legally, so it's up to you how you handle yourself as a professional.
Yeah. How do you stay engaged as the season is winding down and you're not going to win anything and you're probably not going to do much of anything? And that's what the Patriots are faced with as they have 4 games left in this regular season. And we're gonna hear more from their former head coach here in a little while, who has things to say about his time in the news this week, as he is either being courted or sounds a lot like to me he is courting North Carolina.
A lot of conversations happening.
Yeah.
A lot of conversations happening in Chapel Hill.
And I think he's very smart, because I think that's about the kind of job he could get. And I think it's very smart to get out ahead of it even before the hiring cycle starts, and to take that job, get into it. If you want to do the weird thing with your kid, do that. But then you save face and you say, look, I wanted this job. This is the job I want, because you're not getting a big-time program and you're not getting an NFL job. That's obvious. We all agree that now, right? Yeah. There's no way he thinks he's getting an NFL job.
This signals to me that door is absolutely closed.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wouldn't be talking to a college. If he had any chance of landing an NFL job, he would not be talking to North Carolina.
No.
A middle-of-the-road program for the last how many decades?
I would say well below middle of the road. I would say it's not a middle of the road program at all.
Yeah, I know BC beat them this year.
Yeah,
so
I'd say BC's a middle of the road program. I'd say UNC's a below average, for a D1 program below average. So he would go in there, and I think that he doesn't have any opportunities, and I think it's great. Good for him. I think that that's perfect for him. If he really likes coaching that much and he wants to coach, I think it's good for UNC. They get some eyeballs on him. He can, throw the NIL money around. I guess there's a guy that is big in with some big booster that really likes him or something like that that's been politicking for him, because I guess he's not even a unanimous choice at UNC.
Yeah.
There's been some debate over whether he's
too.
Yeah, so if he can do it, God bless him. That's good stuff. I actually do sincerely believe that. If he really wants to coach, he should coach, and that's the kind of job he probably deserves. And
Jordan
he should
don't like
take
the
it.
college life. Chapel Hill's very nice.
I would not want to get Jordan into that life, because ultimately, if you bring her into an A-list affair, everyone's gonna be like, whatever, okay, yeah, you're with a girl. She starts being around a campus.
Oh, you think she might find somebody else?
I think that there might be. She wants someone who could get an erection when called upon without the help of science, mostly, which I'm guessing is what's going on there. I'm guessing that she'd probably be more attracted to someone who is physically attractive.
Even the age appropriateness doesn't even have to enter into it.
No,
How
even
about
a cool professor.
Yeah, just being attracted to somebody who is inherently attractive.
Yeah, because the events they go to, she'll be largely ignored, because who cares about her, right? By the people that are at some big black tie affair, who gives a crap about some chick from Bridgewater? Mm-hmm. But you get on the UNC campus rather. The people. Then all of a sudden, you're with your own people. You can, do keg stands. You can smoke. You can smoke DMT.
Yeah. Briefly, did anyone check out the Simpsons version of the game last night?
No.
I've seen highlights from it.
No.
10 seconds.
No.
10 seconds I last at it. What is this? No.
Drew Carter, guy who calls the Celtic games.
I knew it was on, but caller number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985. Will score a 4-pack of ice skating passes with skate rental for Boston's Winterfest, the city's largest and most immersive winter wonderland in Hood Park in Charlestown. Enjoy light displays, an ice skating rink, live entertainment, festive foods, local vendors, social media moments, and more. Go to winterfestboston.com to learn more. We will be right back with all this Belichick information.
Patriots will visit Arizona this Sunday after having last weekend off. The team held their first practice of the week yesterday afternoon in Foxborough. Jonathan Jones says the preparation for this week is simple.
Just having as much knowledge as you can going into the game and being prepared for the things that we kind of know they're going to do, just any wrinkles they may throw.
The team also saw rookie tackle Caden Wallace on the field yesterday for the first time since week 4 of the season, thanks to a left leg injury. Marcus Jones not present. As for Bill Belichick, ESPN reports he continues to talk to the University of North Carolina about taking over their football program. A decision on the matter one way or another is expected this week. The Bruins were without David Pastrnak at practice yesterday. They visit Winnipeg tonight. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 7:30 and the face-off at 8 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Pastrnak is dealing with an upper body issue. He is questionable to play. The Major League Baseball winter meetings are continuing in Dallas. The Red Sox are interested in signing free agent third baseman Alex Bregman and playing him at second base. Also, the Seattle Times is reporting the Red Sox offered first baseman Tristan Casas to the Mariners for either starting pitcher Bryce Miller or starting pitcher Brian Wu, and were turned down. And Colorado two-way player Travis Hunter, Boise State running back Ashton Genty, Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel, and Miami quarterback Cam Ward are the 4 finalists for the Heisman Trophy. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Enjoy the game with the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cask matured Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Please drink responsibly. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an enticing explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
We are Toucher and Hardy, and we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Are people watching us on YouTube, Hards?
Hards?
Wow, that's new. I like that.
It's endearment.
407.
Kaboom. Beasley Media is available for trade at the on the NASDAQ. That opens at 9:30 this morning. Just know there's 470 people watching us right now. And you can subscribe to our channel, in all seriousness, 98.5 The Sports Hub. And we have a lot of clips going up all the time of highlights from the shows. You can watch our show 24 hours a day. Joe Murray's show 24 hours a day. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so here's a couple of comments coming in on the YouTube right now. The Simpsons broadcast was great, but I'm also a huge Simpsons nerd. These guys are such a buzzkill. Enjoy the Simpsons thing if you want. If you like the Simpsons, there was nothing about the Simpsons that makes you like the Simpsons that was evident in that Simpsons thing last night. Now, again, I watched, to be fair, maybe a minute. Okay? It was more than 10 seconds, but it wasn't much longer than that because it was so disjointed and low energy. And the thing that, made The Simpsons great back in the day, I haven't watched a new episode and I can't tell you how long, but it's the writing. It was the writing that made it good. There was no writing evident in that thing last night, at least the part that I watched. It was just kind of lame. It wasn't good. Just because you like something, things that I already like, I want them to do good things. Like, I wish The Who did a better halftime Super Bowl performance, but they didn't. I can admit that it was not good. I can be honest about things, even that things that I like when they're not good. That wasn't good. It wasn't good. You can't convince me that it was. You can't convince yourself. Don't do that.
No, I love Family Guy, but I've never played the Family Guy video game because it doesn't interest me, if that helps with animated stuff. But the Beavis and Butthead game was fun.
Oh.
So, I mean, there's like different strokes for different folks, as is the case with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, he and his the woman that he's dating, that he's simping for, they had their photo taken at that Nantucket Walk that you talked about, and you can tell they like each other because he had the rabbit ears above her head, and then he was fat and old next to her. And so they are out and about. But you look at Bill Belichick has interviewed with UNC, University of North Carolina, who just fired a guy older than him, Mac Brown. And there was talk about like, oh, he doesn't want this. He's doing a favor, blah, blah, blah. Well, it turns out it doesn't seem like he's doing a favor for anyone. So we were talking right before the break that it sounds like this is probably good for him. And this is what I would do if I was him too. He probably knows he can't get an NFL job. No, blue blood program's going to hire him. Take the job now. It's not a bad job. It's a D1 job. You can get kids. Like, it's not unheard of that you can recruit. You're not in a great conference. You can beat your old nemesis Bill O'Brien. I mean, you can have fun like that. And he was on the let's go, everybody.
Hey, let's go.
Let's go.
Come on,
let's go. Let's go, Patriots.
Back on the air. Let's go.
Hey, we're back.
Let's go, everybody. Let's go. With that half-wit Jim Gray. Let's go. We're brought to you by Dentine.
Geritol. Let's go.
Yeah, and it's like a Milton Berle's, Camel cigarette hour. Like it's he's selling this. This is purchased airtime. I don't think there's any question. But I own the whole team. All right, so here is Bill Belichick and our boy Jim Gray sussing things out.
Let's go. Here we go. Let's go is back on the...
Yeah. The music's like, this is forceful. Strong stuff's about to happen
hey,
here.
We're back, everybody. Here we go.
Hey, I'm an old pussy. Ooh, hey.
And then it's Jim Gray.
Hey, I'm a eunuch. Ooh.
Let's go. Let's go. Here we go. Let's go is back on the air. Let's go. Presented by Delta Airline. Every takeoff is an opportunity for greatness. Visit delta.com to book.
Are you Diamond? I don't think so, Jimmy. Stay in line. Daddy's got to get on the plane.
Today, we've got 8-time Super Bowl champion Bill Belichick with us every week. He's with us again here today. Coach, how was your week?
Good, Jim. Great. Another exciting week of NFL football.
The connection between the two of them.
You know what? It's
just palpable.
Finally, after 3 months of this, I'm willing to, take the L on this one. He is very good in the media.
Yeah.
Belichick is actually excellent.
You want to hear something?
He is good.
Okay, so you say you're on a date let's just all pretend we're gay because we're going to talk about a guy here, and you're on a date, and this is what happens.
Good, Jim. Great. Another exciting week of NFL football.
After every sentence, they're going to go.
I am not having sex tonight. Not happening.
A lot of exciting games that ran Buffalo.
He tuckered out after that. He's tuckered out. He's been like 6 corn mazes. I mean, North Carolina. Oh my goodness, the amusement parks there.
He had to go to Snowport. He had to do the stroll and then tuck it over the weekend. That's a lot of walking. That's 3 or 4 blocks.
Yeah, she dressed as Santa Claus. He was like a funny, silly elf that she got to kick around. Get on your knees, simp.
Pull my sleigh, Rudolph.
Yeah. Put on this red nose, stupid.
Pull me around in this radio flyer wagon that I decorated to look like a sleigh.
My old boyfriend's going to be in front of the costume, and you're going to be in the back with your face in his ass. Now walk around the party.
Pull my sleigh. That's great.
Pull my sleigh.
Football. A lot of exciting games. That Ram Buffalo game was a thriller.
Jim Gray with Bill Belichick. We're here on Let's Go.
You got to reset. Well done.
Let's go. Hey, we're back, everybody. Here we go.
This is good stuff. Man, say you were like in New York City, and you're like, I've always heard of WFAN, like this great station, and you hear
Jim Gray with Bill Belichick. We're here on Let's Go. Let's Go is brought to you by Golden Nugget Hotel and Casinos.
Click.
Nugget Mags.
Click.
It's brought to you by Nugget Magazine. See amputees have sex.
What do you think of that show? Have you heard it?
Good, Jim. Great.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching Outer Banks from the cage.
With 8 world-class locations from coast to coast, there's no better place to stay, play, and win. Visit goldennugget.com to book your getaway today.
I'd pay to see you two in the Golden Nugget, just hanging out in Old Vegas.
Hell yeah.
Having some fun. Rubbing elbows with the people there.
You want to coach next year?
Well, I would consider it. I would consider it.
He's at a 3-word massive inhale part of his life.
Had enough of this chair already?
Yeah.
Had enough of this chair already. Are there 2 worse personalities on the planet? Just non-engaging. Jim Gray's really bad. Really, even if I didn't have my own experiences with him, you got to admit he's not good.
I'd rather hear a Tiger and Phil podcast. I really would.
Phil can be charming. I know no one likes him, but he can be a charming guy.
Had enough of this chair already?
Yeah, no. This chair has actually been really comfortable with you, Jim. But
yeah. When Jordan had you sit in my lap so she could snap pictures in case I ever got out of line.
I've had some conversations with the chancellor at North Carolina, and so we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it goes.
I think it caught folks by surprise that college coaching might appeal to you. Can you explain your decision-making process and why that does appeal to you, if in fact that's the route you go?
Well, again, I have an open mind and have a.
I have an open mind. I mean, it's just society telling you that just because you're a man and heterosexual, things can't go in there.
What?
You got to have an open mind. You got to have an open mind. Just because I'm a big, tough football coach doesn't mean I can't dress like a silly goose and get slapped around.
When you walk in that door, you drop your keys in a punch bowl, anything goes.
Yeah, except you just sit in a chair and watch someone else take advantage.
I thought pegs were only used in the game Mastermind, which I really enjoyed as a young man. But
don't turn on Steely Dan because it brings back horrible memories.
That's next level.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Steely Dan fans. You got the reference. Did you get it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, again, I have an open mind and have a. I think the college game is closer to the pro game than it's ever been with the new.
He has a seizure every time he watches Married with Children.
Kind of landscape in college football. So, I've explored it, and we'll see how it works out.
I think it's widely assumed that you'd like to win another Super Bowl.
Jim, how are you going to maintain your friendship after that question?
You're pushing him a little bit here, Jim.
I think it's widely assumed that you'd like to win another Super Bowl. And I think it's widely assumed by those of us who make these assumptions. That
oh, my God. Just ask the question, dick.
That you'd like to break Don Shula's record. Is that and are those 2 things in the forefront of your mind?
Yeah, Jim, I don't have any set goals. I'm open to different opportunities going forward.
Because at this age, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any dreams or goals. That's how he's been so successful. He's been flying by the seat of his pants. That's what he always taught, too. Hey, fellas, you're about to get out there for 60 minutes. Let's not have any expectations.
Just let it happen, man, and we'll adjust.
Very zen.
Yeah. Right. Listen, let's not think about the end of the season, man. Let's just be present during these times and realize how special this is. Like, take a minute to recognize the crowd and feel the excitement. Take a time to look around. Don't be so worried what's happening in January. Concentrate what's happening right now.
Yeah, Jim, I don't have any set goals. I'm open to different opportunities going forward, and I'll just evaluate them as they come.
Feel like you're kind of at the podium again.
Well, then that would be on to Cincinnati.
Well, it's been fun to have you, and on to Cincinnati. All right, we're not going to badger the witness anymore, Coach. We'll follow it. You're going to let us know first, though, aren't you?
Thank God, because that was getting uncomfortable. That line of questioning, that badgering that Jim was given to Bill. I didn't care for it. I found it disrespectful.
Do you? How high up is a person? In all seriousness, because I actually do want you to do something. Do you know it's serious? Like, is there anyone that you know it's serious that would be like aware of this show that's in programming that didn't put it on because they obviously pay to put it on?
Sure.
Will you do me a huge favor?
Yeah.
Please do me this favor, and I'm being serious. I'd ask you off air, but I'll do it right now.
I'll do it right now.
And play this.
Well, it's been fun to have you. And on to Cincinnati. All right, we're not going to badger the witness anymore, Coach. We'll follow it. You're going to let us know first, though, aren't you?
I'm sorry. Let me just go back. I know this isn't the world's greatest radio, but here, I just play him this.
Feel like you're kind of at the podium again.
Well, then that would be on to Cincinnati.
Well, it's been fun to have you. And on to Cincinnati. All right, we're not going to badger the witness anymore, Coach. We'll follow it. You're going to let us know first, though, aren't you?
I can't predict what the timing would be on anything, so I'll do the best I can, Jim.
It's not just football season, it's wedding season, too. Trust the experts at Jared Jewelers for high-quality natural diamonds with more certified diamondologists than any other local jeweler.
Just give them that and just go, what are your thoughts on this? And you don't have to say who it is or what's going on, and just show them that and just go, why? And I know what he'll say is that they pay for it and that they buy it and it's useless time anyway and da-da-da-da-da. But that's like a car dealer buying like a 2-hour block on Sundays just to kick it around a little bit, which they do at like AM stations.
I just asked a question of one of the programmers. They're a legit question. Have you heard the Jim Gray Belichick segments, and what do you think, as a programmer on the platform?
Yeah, okay. Hopefully they're honest with you because it's awful.
I like that. I like wedging in the whole wedding jewelry thing there because, Bill, have you and Jordan, thought about maybe trying on that?
How about
we
this?
Consider it.
How about this? I guarantee you they get married.
I would consider it.
I guarantee you they get married.
Really?
And
we'll just see how it goes.
And I guarantee you they get married, and then I guarantee you I would not want to be in the Belichick family at that point.
You tell those kids and everyone else who doesn't think too much of that relationship.
I have an open mind.
I don't know anyone in the Belichick family, but I have lived in Boston for a very long time. I've heard some things. Not overly thrilled with everything that's going on. And I bet you they do get married. And I think that's kind of the thought.
That's awesome. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for them both.
I'm happy for her.
I'm happy for her father.
Because if she's going to do this... If Zoe was 24 and came back with a 72-year-old, I wouldn't even be mad at the 72-year-old. I have a really good relationship with her. I would sit her down and I'd be like, let's just work through all of this.
Right. Yeah. I obviously did something very, very wrong 12 to 15 years ago. So let's see if we can fix it in the next 45 minutes.
Yeah. Like, can we just talk about this? Like, I would just always wanting to be talk about it because you can't make someone not do something. But, do you feel really insecure financially? Like, what's going on? What did I do wrong that has you doing this? But again, she has won this whole thing. This isn't like some floozy being dragged around by some powerful man. This is some young woman dragging an old man around. So don't get it twisted. I don't even think she has a problem. But if it was my daughter, who's 10 years younger than her, I would be exceptionally concerned. It's one of the few scenarios that I would dread. Would absolutely dread.
What a reception, though. Can you imagine? Because Jim Gray would be there at the wedding. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing for the very first time, Mr. and Mrs. Bill Belichick.
Question is, how many of his ex-players would be there? That's the question.
Do you show up even though you don't like them? I mean, I don't think many.
Tom Brady, does he arrive? Is he at that wedding? I'm thinking no.
I wouldn't be. That's a good question, but I'd be more interested in how many family members would be at that wedding.
Yeah,
and like how many.
We'll just see how it goes.
How many in-laws? You have to remember this is a long-term girlfriend and the mother of his children ago, so like there's living people like still in this orbit.
Oh sure.
So maybe if I'm married to one of Bill's children, and I still have a relationship with other people that were in the universe, maybe I'm not overly happy. It's just a guess of mine. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Listen up, man. This is your new f***ing home. This is your new home right here. Shut the f*** up and don't f***ing complain. Look at this hole. Look at this f***ing hole. Right across the street. Look at this f***ing dump. Road f***ing closed. You chose this piece of to be your home for the next 15 f***ing years because you're a money-hungry f***ing bitch. F*** you.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and that is a angry Yankee fan standing in front of Citi Field yelling about Juan Soto going to the Mets. You'll notice that the Yankee fan easily got to Citi Field as it's not terribly far from the Bronx. And actually, I would say easier to access than the Bronx.
What was it, like 9-10 miles away, something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. But if you fly into LaGuardia, you're right there. I mean,
Yes.
you can see it from the plane.
Yes.
A lot of those guys live in this one part of Queens. A lot of the Mets players. It's this affluent area of Queens. I can't remember. I felt very smart when I remembered what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But they all live, and then I go on Google Maps and I look at it and I go, ooh, that's quite nice. It's quite nice. They live like right by Citi Field. But they are not getting the experience of living in the Bronx, which I have not been in a long time, except for if you use some sort of navigation system and it has you get off the freeway and go through the Bronx for some reason when you're traveling through New York, which has happened to you.
It has.
It has happened to me. It has happened to my parents.
Stuck in traffic for an hour and a half trying
As
to
you
get
take
through
a
there.
bridge, and then you end up in the Bronx, and you go, why am I here? And it goes, oh, no, there'll just be 15 turns or so. And then you'll get through. It's not like the Bronx is burning days or anything. It's not like I'm fearful for my life. I'm just questioning why the GPS is taking me through an outer borough where I could be on a freeway of some sort, regardless of the traffic situation. All right, so now that Juan Soto has signed and he's got his big deal and everything can move on from here, and I still don't understand how Cohen has more money than everyone, and I still don't understand what the situation in New York is, but it is what it is, and it's a big story in New York. But in terms of Boston, who cares really now? What the question is, though, is that, all right, they were willing to pay how much to Soto this year?
$700 million total.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this year it was what, like
50.
Okay, so there's conceivably $50 million in money that they had allocated towards Juan Soto. And we both agreed that a right-handed bat was the least of what they needed. Juan Soto would have been great, but left-handed bat was the least of the things that they needed.
They need a right-handed bat.
They need a right-handed bat. I apologize. I said it wrong. And they need pitching. So now let's focus on that. And, John, there are some rumors going on in terms of the Red Sox and who they might be interested in.
There are a few. The hot rumor yesterday was Houston free agent third baseman Alex Bregman. Who hits right-handed, is good for, 25 homers, 90 RBIs. He had an off year last year. He's 30 years old. And you say, well, the Red Sox already have a third baseman, Rafael Devers. Well, that's true. What they're thinking about is signing Bregman and playing him at second base, a place he's never played before. Alex Cora met the media in Dallas yesterday, and obviously Alex knows him from his time in Houston and says Bregman's a fantastic athlete. He shouldn't have any trouble picking that up. I guess you could move Trevor Story back to second and have Bregman play shortstop, a place he has played, but that's a plan there.
Wouldn't you move Devers to first? Then you would move Casas to DH.
And then sit Yoshida.
Yes.
Which isn't necessarily a bad idea, but from everything I've read coming out of Dallas, they have not talked to Devers about moving at all. And his agent has come out and said, well, Rafael wants to play third. That's one avenue you can go. I don't know.
Wouldn't you want to play first?
Apparently not. Apparently Devers likes third base, wants to stay there.
Okay, I would think that you'd want to play first, but go ahead.
That isn't the only avenue the Red Sox are looking at. There was a report in the Seattle Times last night that said the Red Sox have had trade talks with the Mariners about 2 of their young pitchers. Brian Wu is one of them, and let me make sure I have this right. Brian Wu was one of them, and Bryce Miller is the other one. Both of them did very well last year. Wu made 22 starts. Miller had more than that. Miller almost had 200 innings last year. Both of them had ERAs in the neighborhood of 3. The Mariners are offensively challenged. They need a bat badly. They have a surplus of starting pitching, which is something no other major league team has, but the Mariners apparently turned that down. They didn't want Casas. And the Red Sox, what it says to me is the Red Sox, because they were not able to sign Casas to that long-term contract that they got Ceddanne Rafaela to sign, that they got Brian Bayo to sign, maybe looking to move on from him. And
would that break your heart?
No, it wouldn't. What this team needs is cheap, controllable pitching, and Miller and Wu are both that. They're both under control for another 3 years. So at this stage, you need pitching more than you need hitting. I think that rotation was a problem for long periods of time. I don't think you can count on, an all-star appearance from Tanner Houck again. I mean, I think that they really got lucky for long periods of time with their pitching. So
I think the best bet is because now that Soto's gone, Fried could go to San Francisco, the Yankees, or you. So that's going to get driven up. I think your best bet is trading for Crochet and then extending him. That's what I would want to do. If
Crochet, the Red Sox, apparently, from what I read this morning, are kind of on the outskirts of that. It's more Yankees and Mets, oddly enough. But the Red Sox have more of the prospects the White Sox want.
Yeah,
the Red Sox haven't been really willing to engage with them yet. But the White Sox like what the Red Sox have in their minor league system more than like what the Yankees and Mets have. But it's not a perfect match with those two teams. It's more of a match with the Red Sox, but the Red Sox haven't engaged with them yet.
Okay, because what do you think? What do you think they're more likely to win? Is the thing I'm asking you. Is a trade with the White Sox competing against the Mets or Yankees, or a free agent battle going after Max Fried?
Obviously, trade. They have a much better minor league system.
Yeah, and you can start jettisoning some of that talent.
Apparently, there are some untouchables there.
Yeah, well, of course.
Christian Campbell is an untouchable. Roman Anthony is an untouchable. Oddly enough, Mayer does not seem to be at this point. Mayer may not be untouchable.
If Mayer is not at least a occasional all-star and you keep him, you really blew it, because you had an opportunity to exchange him for something, for a current all-star. And, your whole organization has been built around this kid. And the last 4 years, the excuse of it has been this kid. And now there's kids in the system that have overtaken him. And, if he comes up, you have to agree, if he comes up and he's not at least an occasional all-star.
I agreed. I mean, you drafted him in the top 5. He was your number 1 prospect for 2 years. There's a lot on this kid. The problem is he's been hurt a lot. He was hurt at Double-A. He got hurt again at the end of last season. This is something that merits watching, because he's missed a lot of time the last 2 years.
Yeah, and there was plenty of times you could have traded him to a lower market team and gotten plenty for him.
Didn't we decide at some point over the summer that he was the 2024 version of Casey Kelly? Just the untouchable, untradeable, can't do it, wouldn't entertain any offers.
I don't remember us talking about Casey Kelly.
But it's got that vibe to it whenever you're talking about an untouchable prospect, and then when he finally does move for whatever reason and then bounces around, look, you certainly don't want to get those wrong, but I just hate the idea of hoarding certain guys, saying like, there's no way. No way.
You could do it with a couple guys, but you can't do it with your top 5 guys, especially when you're looking to compete. And I mean, Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah, number 1 overall
was
pick.
The number 1 overall pick. He was the number 1 overall prospect, and
didn't work out.
Well, no, he's fine.
Yeah, but he's not.
Yeah. But he's not if they were in a position where they could have gotten a current player, an existing player, he hit Last year he had 219.
Yeah, he's at
with 10 home runs. I mean, he's not very good.
Yeah, he's below mediocre everyday first baseman.
Yes, exactly.
The Red Sox would argue a couple of things. I think the Red Sox would argue, well, we're hoarding all these guys because not all of them are going to hit, and that kind of gives us a wider margin for error. You bring all of them up, some will play well, some won't. But if we trade off a couple of them, then we're really putting pressure on the kids that remain.
Oh, well, I would make the argument that if you could trade him for a current all-star pitcher, that regardless if that takes the pressure off the kids that stay, because you have a all-star pitcher who's already been an all-star that has proven themselves at the major league level. That takes a ton of pressure off the organization.
All of these prospects are blocked. A lot of them are. I know Mayer is.
Yes.
Trevor Story's not going anywhere anytime soon. Mayer's blocked. This kid Campbell can play a couple of different positions. He can play the middle infield and he can play the outfield, I believe. But he's blocked in a lot of places. Jarren Duran, you have this kid Vaughn Grissom you were supposed to give a shot to and you didn't. And then there's Story at shortstop. And if you sign Alex Bregman to play second base, all of these kids are blocked. So you got to trade one or two or three of them. I mean, the Red Sox have talked a very big game the last 6 weeks. And so far we haven't seen anything. This is the week where things are supposed to move. This week right here.
Well, because Soto's
gone. The dominoes are going to begin falling. There are players, there are pitchers that are available, that have been available now for about a year, that you should be able to go get with the stable of minor leaguers you have.
I just would feel a lot better if I was a Red Sox fan and I heard that they had made a trade today.
Yes.
If they had made a trade today because they could. What if the Fried contract gets to like a ridiculous level and then they have to bail out?
Fried, by the way, and Tom Caron, who's down in Dallas, tweeted out yesterday that he hears more heat about Fried than he does about Burns. Corbin Burns, the Baltimore Orioles ace, who's a free agent.
That's what they're saying nationally too. Is that it's the Giants, the Yankees, and the Red Sox and on Fried, and that sounds like it's going to get to a crazy price. And what if the Yankees go nuts because they're pissed about the Soto thing, and it's just not the right thing for you to do? And then and then someone else trades for Crochet, and then you're sitting there with it in your hands.
Well, this is the moment. This is the moment you hired Craig Breslow for. This is the moment that ownership apparently has been waiting for. You have the prospects. You are $60 million underneath the luxury tax threshold. You should be able to spend and trade in the next week or two.
Yeah, I know. But if you you understand what I'm saying. If you put your eggs in all in one free agent basket and it doesn't work out, you end up like the Blue Jays last year, where they thought they had Ohtani and they didn't, and then they ended up sucking because they couldn't do anything.
No, there are no excuses. You have the capital. You have the prospects. You should be able to alter your major league roster significantly here.
Yeah, they should be at least a playoff contender. I mean, they're not going to win that division probably, but with Soto out of New York, who knows?
And even if you trade one or two of your top prospects, you got a couple other guys that you're really high
Well, that's
on.
the whole thing is that Hardy makes the point is that that only so many guys can be untouchable. You can't have your whole system be untouchable. They're not all going to make it.
I get Roman Anthony. I get that. He's one of the best prospects in the game. You don't trade him. He's your outfield future. You pair him up with Duran, and the two of them should be together for a decade.
Jordan Walker, Dylan Carlson.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, there's a million guys I could name that were supposed to be these all-world kids that just didn't pan out. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub Headline. If your alarm clock sounds like this, this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And if you've been paying attention, the college football playoff has been announced, and there are teams that have not made it. Clemson had an upset over SMU, so both of those teams are in, leaving teams like Alabama and Ole Miss on the outside looking in. Now, what do we know about Alabama and Ole Miss? They certainly call into the Paul Finebaum show. I myself even found myself watching a little bit of the Paul Finebaum show yesterday. Earlier in the day, he was on ESPN at some point at an airport gate that looked like at a very small airport. But nonetheless, what do we have for the people here?
We have Larry, who has called in before. We all know Larry.
Why don't y'all turn in your credentials?
Who has a lot to say, not only about the officials and the players and the coaches.
I want to say something.
He's got something to say about mostly about the officiating here in his call to Paul Finebaum.
Okay, because Alabama did not play. They were not in the conference championship, so we'll see what he's talking about.
Hey, man, I'm just about pissed off somebody. I think this thing's just embarrassing. I mean, I'm not going to get into this, but I'm going to say it, and then I'm done. Because they have turned football into an embarrassing joke. That is, and Bama didn't make it.
And that he means minorities. They're taking our jobs.
And then I'm done. Because they have turned football.
That's like when every time he walks up to the job site, he goes, "Ow!"
And then I'm done.
I done twist my ankle. I gotta go home. I'm on disability. Yep. He's like my uncle.
I got to go home,
Jack. Because they have turned football into an embarrassing joke. That is. And Bama didn't make it, and they should not have made it because of Oklahoma. But I'll tell you something. That Vanderbilt and Tennessee, this officiating, Josh Pate, Herb Street, everybody knows it.
Tennessee played Vanderbilt when?
I'm still catching up. I hear him speak, and it takes me an extra 10 seconds to kind of process what it is he just said.
Yeah, I'm not positive when Tennessee played Vanderbilt, but
that was on Saturday, November 30th.
All right, so he's going back to Saturday, November 30th.
He's been holding on to this.
Yeah. Now, do you remember the score of that game by any chance?
36-23 Tennessee.
All right, so how is that? Turn that off. It's the worst song about Tennessee ever.
Tennessee.
Get it off. Not only were they black, they were hippies. Arrested Development, not good. All right, so here's the deal. So he's very upset about the Tennessee-Vanderbilt game because Tennessee is why? Because they're in the football playoff. They will be playing Ohio State and losing. All right, here we go.
This is turning football, taking good games and turning them sour because of striped suit, people in them striped suits. I like to grab one of them by the neck and stick a football up there.
And then they could turn around and do it to me. Because I've been a bad boy.
You know, the ones in the striped clothes, striped suit. You know what I'm saying? The
pinstripe suit.
Yeah.
In the fedora. The guys are the old-time gangsters. You know, like in the 20s.
The zoot suit.
Yeah, you'd come in, they were roaring 20s. They'd come in and they'd put stuff like footballs in you.
Stick a football up there.
Yeah.
They are not doing their job, and Shanky got on
Shanky got on the back of a cop car and started jumping up and down, and we knew that he was going to go to jail because he had priors.
We knew he knew J.D. Shellnut, the chief of police, and he'd tell anybody. He played cards with him.
And there wasn't no stopping him, though, once he got his mind to being reckless.
Stanky.
We called him Stanky on the count of he couldn't control his bowels. It was a very literal name. Oh, Stanky, you smell like poo. I can't help it. I can't control my bowels. Well, at least put a Glade thing on you, on your belt. But that just covers up and makes it smell like pooey spearmint.
Stanky was wanting to hang a Glade stick off his buckle.
That's what and mistletoe off his front. And you know, the Lord makes you do it.
They are not doing their job, and Sankey got on
meth, and then we didn't see him for 4 days, but then when I came home, all his TVs had been taken apart and crudely put back together.
Made some statements. Well, I'm working on it. On the we're trying to. No, you're not. You're sitting there getting fat.
Sitting behind that bush waiting me to come outside so you can see I'm violating my insurance policy. Why do I have to limp everywhere just on the account of you got binoculars trying to find that I'm taking advantage of my claim? Boo. Damn woman, find my sling. You know I got to be in court. I got the whiplash.
And sloppy and not doing what you need to do. You need to turn this football like it was. And you telling me I'll take Alabama against any team out there right now. I'll take them 2 games, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and I'll show you it's the worst officiating I've ever seen, Paul. And it should not be like this.
Yeah, that's what happened when after they had the firework incident, and he woke up the next morning and showed his front of his body to his friend.
Be like this.
That's right. I thought it was funny. He looked at the TV he had reassembled in a meth-induced craze he took apart. I just need to find the innards of this and find out, reckon how it could be reckoned with now. But now that I see it put back together.
Not be like this.
Yeah.
You know, I put some M80s in my pockets on account of play a prank at the old Circle K. But then when I looked down at my genitalia, I thought...
And it should not be like this.
You ever see the old cartoons where the cat blows its head and then it's all black with its hair pointing back?
I have.
It's kind of like that, but more destroyed. I don't think I'm going to have kids again. But it was worth it. I got to laugh.
I'd love to see a good season without some pinstripe suit monkey. I'll try to get in touch with Stanky. That man his ass needs to be run down a road on a rail.
Hey, Larry, listen, you're entitled to your opinion, and we appreciate that. But he's also
it's not opinion.
He's also the best. He's also the best commissioner.
You get the game, and we'll sit down together, and I'll point it out to you. Opinion my ass.
Please, could you come sit down and watch a game with me so I can point it out to you?
Be run down a road on a rail.
On a rail.
Opinions a-holes. We all got one.
Opinions and a-holes.
And they all stink.
Stick a football up there.
Hit the road,
Jack.
don't you come back.
And you said it. I see it.
Hit the road,
Jack.
and don't you come back.
The same thing.
What you say?
I see it.
It is interesting that Paul, who I love, Paul Finebaum, doesn't have to step in when someone says they're going to hurt someone physically that exists. Like the commissioner, I guess he was talking about the commissioner of the SEC, and he's talking about physically harming him.
His ass needs to be run down a road on a rail.
You can't think of anything more painful than having to run down a road.
On a rail.
On a rail. All right, well, listen, it should be like that.
Damn tide, Jack.
It should be like that probably for a while. Because, hopefully for a while, because really, all that's left is out of his callers are Georgia and Tennessee. Because I don't think Clemson's a big situation with his show.
No.
Certainly not Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, SMU, Indiana, Boise State, or Oregon.
If we can get some Georgia calls. Oh.
Georgia. Hey. Georgia. Said I ain't helping.
All right, so we will be back in just a moment. Andrew Callahan will join us for the full 8 o'clock hour.
Stay. in Boston, 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Patriots are back from their bye week. They'll pay a visit to the Arizona Cardinals this coming Sunday. Austin Hooper, for one, was more than happy for his break.
It's good, relaxing, a good opportunity to heal up and get your mindset ready for the final push. So it's something about having the latest bye week in the league, just when your body's ready to break down. You get a nice little few days to catch up on some sleep, relax, recover, and get your mind right for the final push.
Marcus Jones was missing for practice yesterday, but the good news is rookie tackle Caden Wallace was present after missing the last 10 weeks with a left leg injury. In Bill Belichick news, ESPN is reporting he met with the University of North Carolina again this week to discuss their head football coaching vacancy. A resolution on these talks one way or another is expected this week. On Monday Night Football, Cincinnati won in Dallas last night 27-20. The Bruins were without David Pastrnak at practice yesterday. They visit Winnipeg this evening. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers will have the pregame at 7:30 and the face-off at 8 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Pastrnak is dealing with an upper body issue. He is questionable for tonight. And the Major League Baseball winter meetings are continuing in Dallas. The Red Sox are interested in signing free agent third baseman Alex Bregman and playing him at second base. Also, the Seattle Times is reporting the Red Sox offered first baseman Tristan Casas to the Mariners for either Bryce Miller or Brian Wu last month. Both of those players are starters, and the Red Sox were turned down. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the $14.99 Big Deal Meals at the Nines. 4 new hearty full-size entrees like the roasted turkey dinner available every Monday through Wednesday for just $14.99. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach at Boston Tone for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred. Seldom right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that Dutcher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Just continue to focus in, especially this time of the year. Nobody's doing anything new per se, and so just having as much knowledge as you can going into the game, and being prepared for the things that we kind of know they're going to do, just to any wrinkles they may throw. Guys are continuing to build and getting better. Like I said, I'm proud of how this team has continued to stick together despite the record, all the obstacles we've gone through this season. Guys are showing up, practicing hard, and going out there on Sundays.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Andrew Callahan is the Patriots reporter columnist for the Boston Herald. He joins us in studio this morning. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, and you can watch the great Andrew Callahan from the Boston Herald on YouTube, as we are on YouTube live during the show, and then it's up there 24 hours a day. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub. Andrew, hello.
Good morning.
You have article up on your thoughts about Bill Belichick and the what conversations he's having with University of North Carolina. I'll ask you first, do you think this is something that both sides are legitimately pursuing?
I do, for the first time since this story broke last Thursday. I think without any hard reporting myself, it's difficult to see them coming together in what appears to be a massive gap. Like, I think Bill looks at this and says, I'm Bill Belichick, right? If I'm going to come to North Carolina, I'm going to pick the next head coach. I'm going to have the whole staff. You're going to spend more money than you ever have. And North Carolina, up until recently, really lags in an area that you can't lag in modern college football, which is NIL. And so they're going to go from $4 million, which they spent in the roster last year, to $12 million thanks to revenue sharing. And to me, $12 million might be the cost of Bill Belichick alone.
I was just going to say that's got to be a problem. If you pay that much to Bill, you're not going to have anything left to bring in the athletes you need.
And there are different pools that you can pull from, but to me, there's just a lot of bridges to cross fundamentally. And this comes through in the ESPN reporting of like, okay, there's legitimate interest, but the issues that you have to figure out are salary, your resources for a staff, your resources to build a roster. Oh, and then his son, who reportedly Bill wants to be the next head coach in name whenever he's done. It's just a lot of ground to cover.
Can we Do you think that this is something that Steve Belichick is on board with? That
I'm sure.
So you've met him before. He's the kind of guy that would want his dad to go take a job and then know the only reason he got the head coaching job after him was because it was part of his dad's contract?
Well, I don't think he sees it entirely that way, because if you were to ask Steve, I would imagine, a prideful guy, super hardworking guy, and I think very simple in terms of his focuses and what he likes and what he wants from life, which has its benefits, is Bill's answer, I think, would be similar to Steve's in that, hey, I earned this by working my way up. You don't get to work for Bill Belichick unless you learn the defense. You work 18 hours a day. You get paid very little. And you could argue, okay, his foot was only in the door because his foot is his.
I don't have a problem with that, no.
Right.
Yeah.
But he says everything that happened after, I earned my way up. And he's earned the respect of players.
No, and I agree. And he's the defensive coordinator at Oregon or Washington. Who was a big program. And
they did very, very well last year, the defense.
Yeah, and they've recruited very well this offseason. And so my question with that would be, like, he's in a position where he could get a college head coaching job anyway. Like, if he continues to have success at Washington, he could get a. Do you see the history of the kid that's the coach at Arizona State? His first coaching job, he's 17. He's coached at Auburn. I mean, like the kid's like 31 years old or something. Like you can get jobs, having been the coordinator at Washington. I'm just wondering why he wouldn't want to do it on his own instead of having his dad put it in a contract that he needs the job. Because I do think that he could probably get one on his own.
Well, I think two things. Number one, he really enjoyed working with Bill. That's a fact. Like, you get a chance just to work with your dad as long as possible, knowing Bill certainly doesn't have probably 10 more years in him. I think he'd take that chance. Number two would be job security, right? I mean, in college sports, your livelihood, and this seems obvious, but I want it to sink in for a second, is built on the whims of performance of 17 to 20-year-olds. Like, famously, the most inconsistent people on earth. So if he goes, okay, even if things go bad at Washington the next year or two, I don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to be here. And then I'll go to North Carolina. And if things go poorly under my dad, I don't have to worry about losing my job then because I'm the next guy. So to be able to tell my wife and my kids, we're going to be here at least for 5, 6, 7 years, that's something not even the best head coaches in college football can tell their families.
Okay, but that's you just brought up one of the flaws, I think, in this whole plan, because everyone is just under the assumption that Belichick would go in there and have a successful program, and they don't have to worry about keeping it going because Steve's there to take over. What if he doesn't? What if he goes in there and has 2 or 3 wins and the Steve Belichick thing doesn't look that great because all he's going to do is continue what his dad started? There's got to be a way for North Carolina to get out of that if they don't want to continue with more of the same.
Yeah, you pay him to go away, right? Like any coach that gets fired, you're paid out and you're paid to
right. So
Jimbo Fisher might be the highest paid coach in college football right now because he's not at Texas A&M.
I guess it has as much to do with whether Steve likes this idea or not, is how much confidence he has in his dad that his dad's going to be able to go in there and be a good coach.
I'm sure he's been indoctrinated into having a lot of confidence. Does this mean the interest in UNC that Bill's pretty much resigns to the fact that his days of coaching the NFL are done?
That is my biggest takeaway. I think resigned is strong. But you cannot read this in any other way with Bill in the NFL as anything but a lack of confidence. And he's had 11 months to pitch himself again. Granted, you don't technically know what openings are going to happen come January, but you got 3 open right now. He's not going to the Jets. I don't think Chicago wants anything to do with them. No. New Orleans is the other. And then you're looking at Dallas, which maybe the timing of last night's loss in spectacular special teams fashion, just a complete meltdown, maybe gets Jerry to change his mind. And then you're looking at Jacksonville maybe. So he knows the players at the table, and they're saying, I don't really want to show you my card. So I think if this is not legitimate, it's a last-ditch effort to get the owners to pick up the phone and say, hey, just wait. We'll interview you, but that's all we can guarantee.
Okay, because if I look around the league, say there's 6 openings. I mean, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Mike Vrabel. I mean, there's a lot of guys there, and that's 3 off the top of my head, and they're from. And there's 1 free agent and 2 coaches from the same team. I mean, there's other guys there too. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I take before Bill Belichick. That's got to be the feeling around the NFL, right?
I would imagine. And I think Bill's actions say this. I think the calendar does him no favors, right? Like, this is the best college job available right now. I don't think after the playoff that's going to change where guys get fired because they didn't make maybe Ryan Day at Ohio State, but that's a different story.
He's not getting the Ohio State job, but yeah, okay. Even if he was fired, Belichick wouldn't get that job. But yeah, go ahead.
Right, and so he's saying, do I just want to commit to coaching football because that's what I love most on this earth, or do I want to hold out for something that's probably a low probability chance, even if he was the number one candidate? Like, you still have to go in there, convince a whole room. Couldn't do it in Atlanta last year.
Yeah.
I'm your guy. Hire me now. Or do I just take something that's available? And I think what he's trying to do, especially on McAfee yesterday, like, everyone's very impressed that Bill was prepared and diligent and detailed. Like, that's the man. I don't think we forgot who Bill Belichick was.
Was McAfee standing or sitting on his feet?
I think he was sitting on his lap. I think that's how those interviews go.
That's a good
I know.
line.
The best coach of all time. No, McAfee, when he's not standing now, he lifts himself up and he sits on his legs.
No, I believe he was standing for this one.
Okay, I refuse to watch
That's maybe the greatest breakdown and explanation of anything football related ever in the history of football.
Hey, the guy's he's not for everyone. He's not everyone's cup of tea. He's not your mom's radio host. He sits on his legs and kisses everyone's ass. Go ahead.
But I think that interview was not about, Bill has mastered college football. Like, that gap, I think, is a leap everyone's crossed and taken that has been a little bit too far. What that interview was, though, I think Bill pressuring North Carolina to say, if I take over this program, and we need to come together on things like these are the first three things he said about an interview. What are our goals? How do we get there? And what are the resources available to make that happen? The resources point is huge. This is not a school swimming in booster money and talent. They have the 90th ranked recruiting class right now. You'd be like, the transfer portal. He'll just pill third and fourth year players who want to come play for Bill Belichick. He might, but then those guys can leave in a year. Like, there's so much here. And I think he says, you're going to give me what I want because I deserve it. I think it's a hard case to argue against. But even then, to Hardy's point, it's no guarantee that he wins. It's a totally different sport.
Yeah, and I think, and good for him if he takes the job, because I don't think he's going to get a job in the NFL, and he's not going to get a job at a blue blood college program. And if he really likes coaching this much, then it's almost honorable. Then go take the North Carolina job. And if they're willing to, I think it's more if your son's willing to, be a contract stipulation, then I guess good for him. But I think that this is the best case scenario for Belichick. He goes in there, it's a relatively low pressure affair. If they win 7-8 games, he's a hero. If they win 5 games, it's not a disaster.
It's just another year.
Yeah,
in North
exactly.
Carolina.
Right. Like, they're in a crappy conference. Like, everything's fine. Go ahead.
You were talking about coordinators and other coaches that could fill openings. The Houston offensive coordinator, Slowick, has been in the coaching cycle.
Yep.
The Buffalo offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, he's been in there too. So that's 5 right there. And I'm sure that there are some more that are involved.
I mean, I've read
Johnson.
a million names.
But, those guys have been interviewed for jobs. I mean, these guys could look at what Josh Allen is doing. That guy like Brady could get a job real quick this time around.
Right. And that's who you'd want. You don't want a 73-year-old man that was not good. It was not good his last 4 years and is terrible with personnel.
But if you're Dallas, like, talent's not your problem. It's dysfunction. It's coaching. Like, if I'm him, and I'll say this categorically, like, the title of the column today that I have in the Herald is "Let's hope Bill Belichick can do better than North Carolina," which is as much a reflection on North Carolina as the fact that I think the NFL is more interesting with Bill Belichick in it. And yeah, he was 29 and 39. I thought he deserved to get fired. But him in Dallas is a perfect hand in glove fit, in my opinion. Like, get him in there. It's only 3 to 4 years. Jerry's older than him anyway. Go win now.
Prescott loves McCarthy. He's got to deal with Prescott. I like to see him deal with Prescott and CeeDee Lamb without being able to put 6 rings that he just won on the table. Coming in, being a loser off the street, and come into that room, be old Bill Belichick, and try to get that team with Micah Parsons and all those guys to buy in. First of all, I think that Dallas is overrated with their talent. And they're in a situation they don't have a quarterback right now. I just would. I mean,
what do you mean?
Prescott's hurt. Like,
he's under contract. He'll be ready.
I know, but what I'm saying is they don't have a quarterback right now. Like, I don't know how this is McCarthy's fault. That it's necessarily dysfunctional. I think if Prescott didn't get hurt, the Cowboys might make the playoffs. So I don't know. Again, if I'm any team, I don't know if I want to put a 73-year-old in there that's lost. That and has never won without a certain quarterback.
Making the playoffs isn't the problem, though. They've only won the one playoff game under McCarthy, despite having the regular season record. And when you see meltdowns in the postseason and you see meltdowns in special teams, I know it's a boneheaded play, and it'd be a lot easier just to put it on that one guy in that moment. But it's the same stuff that we got on Belichick and his staff for in the last few years. It's coaching. It's an overall coaching philosophy or a coaching situation or mentality going on, their culture that isn't getting through. And I don't know that it's completely McCarthy's fault because the reasons you just mentioned, Fred, with not having Prescott in there. But at some point, you got to say, okay, it's not working. It's not working with McCarthy.
Okay, so would you bring in Belichick, who's never won without Brady and is 73 years old, or would you bring in one of these other candidates? Would you look around the league and see what's happening with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota?
Would I, if I were
probably the best, is going to win Coach of the Year? Go ahead.
Okay, if I were Jerry Jones, no.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones, I don't think is going to bring in Bill Belichick to be his head coach.
No, that seems. I just don't see a scenario why you would want him.
I don't know. No.
To the point about the talent,
I'd hire Vrabel. I just give Vrabel a ton of money. He's younger and seems more together. Go ahead.
To the point about talent, CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons are both better than any player Belichick had over the last 3-4 years in New England. And you would go, okay, well, whose fault is that? Bill Belichick. That's absolutely right. Coaching, development, drafting. But the Cowboys do a damn good job of getting players in the building. It's just what happens next. That's the problem. So I think he would have a higher floor than he had here in New England. There aren't warts or issues they had to have to work through. Like, he can't do the same stuff that got him down to 8-9 and then 4-13 and out of the building. And I think Mike Vrabel is the best coaching candidate available. But I just think for what Dallas wants, where they're at, given their roster talent, their history, and their issues right now, Bill Belichick is the perfect.
Jerry hasn't always picked the
so.
best guys. I mean, Jerry's handpicked guys have not necessarily been awesome.
Why would CeeDee Lamb and Prescott aren't old? Why is it a 3-year window? I'd want a 10-year window. Why would I only want a guy for 3 years? And that's not guaranteed.
Let me run this by you. Steve Belichick, future Cowboys coach.
That's excellent, especially when I'm like a real hard-on owner that wants to control everything.
It's a family business, though. His son is the COO, Stephen, I think.
And cleans his glasses.
Steven
cleans his glasses from the box. Listen, I wouldn't give Belichick a job. I think he knows he's not getting a job, and I think good for him and good for UNC. If I was UNC, I'd hire Belichick. In 10 seconds, I'd hire him.
It's just
I would.
And
I would just to get some eyes on the program. Maybe get a little juice.
It's so funny. Fox had Edelman, Gronk, and Brady all on the panel together yesterday, and they asked all three of them. So, what do you think about Bill to North Carolina? And all three of them couldn't believe that this was actually going to happen. All three of them were incredulous that Bill would go to North Carolina and actually try to coach a college program. It was unanimous across the board without hesitation.
I think he has a lot more of a chance of succeeding at North Carolina in terms of what is expected than he does in the NFL. I think that he could go to North Carolina and win 7 games and be bowl eligible. I absolutely do. I think there's no question about it. He can outcoach Bill Belichick in the college level in the ACC. We could just based on he's a good coach. Like,
of course,
he'll win 4 games just by being the superior coach.
The problem has nothing to do with the on-field stuff. The problem for him, has always been the off-field nonsense he has to deal with. The 17-year-old that wants more money that's failing math.
But that's that's all at the table. They're professional athletes now. The academic part's out the window. They're NIL money. They're treated like professional athletes.
A 17-year-old walks in and says, "Bill, I want more money."
Well, that's not
Bill needs this kid to play whatever, safety or cornerback. And
that's why they have an NIL budget and the money to be allocated towards kids. I mean, it's the same. It's professional sports. If anything, Bill Belichick knows how to do that. That's what he knows how to do.
Here's the problem, though, just quickly. Like, the flow of talent in the NFL is the teams pick the players, except for in free agency, and even then you kind of offer the most money. That's how it goes. The kids, when they're high school recruits, the kids, when they're transfer portal, they pick where they want to go. And you have to recruit not just at the high school level or in the portal, but year-round in your own building. Because these players, ask Georgia Tech, best season in a decade, almost beat Georgia, upset Miami, upset Florida State. Their number one receiver, 1,000-yard guy, just entered the portal yesterday because he could. Georgia Tech is an analogous program in my mind to North Carolina, who's going to have a lot of the similar
Georgia
problems.
Tech's better.
Yeah.
But they've won a national
So
championship.
he's got to recruit. Like this jump from it's professional sports all of a
You
sudden.
got to play nice with the media. You got to we got to promote your program. Stuff that Bill loathes.
He doesn't have to play nice with the media. That's absolutely not true. And secondly, he doesn't have to go out and actively recruit. That's not what head coaches do. Head coaches recruit probably about 5 kids. And then I understand what you're saying, keeping kids in the building.
Well, in the last year, and even then, you got to hire the right people to recruit.
Right. And you know what I do? I made you, kid. Steve, get out there and recruit all these kids for me. All right. We'll be back in just one moment.
They've let it slip so much that a guy like Soto was probably never going to come here.
Felger and Matt.
You Stanford guy. Come on. All right, yeah, I'll answer like a politician for you. Here we go. I think his work ethic's fantastic. He keeps working the way he is. It's up to him.
Who's that? I don't know who that is. I have to plead ignorance.
Austin Hooper.
Oh, that's the Hoop Man?
The Hoop?
Oh, well, I know him from all those commercials. Austin Hooper for your Lincoln Chevy dealer. Austin Hooper is everywhere. We have Andrew
Lincoln
Callahan.
Chevy. What kind of dealership is that?
It's the wild one I put up in my head. I can do anything in here.
Ford and GM?
Yeah, birds can be multicolored. I can do a whole thing. I got blue turtles up here if I want them. I can do anything with my imagination. We have Andrew Callahan in studio. He is of the Boston Herald. He covers your New England Patriots, who take on the Arizona Cardinals, who have not been good of late. The Arizona Cardinals losing handily to not a very good Seahawks team.
3 in a row, right?
That is three losses in a row. They've lost twice to the Seahawks in an ugly fashion. Without Kenneth Walker III, the Seahawks beat them.
Well, they were down real early. I mean, Kyler Murray threw a bad pick, and they were down 14-0 real quick.
What do you think of the rest of the? Where are you if you're a Patriot fan now? Are you looking? Are you on the side of losing games or winning games as we go out the last 4 games? This is probably the last one they have a chance at, unless the Bills tank the Week 18.
No, I know, but that loss last week may mean that last game means something for seeding.
Yeah, I mean,
I
the
see it the
Steelers
opposite
are
way.
behind them. I see it the opposite way too. I see it that it's now you're not catching Kansas City, so maybe you're going to just be settled into that 2 seed.
Yeah, I think you take the rest, especially with Josh Allen. I mean, he's the whole freaking operation. He's going to be MVP of the league. I'm on the side of winning, and I think when you talk about tanking in the NFL, I think part of it is just branding. Like the Patriots have said, we're just going to play the young players. I mean, that's kind of tanking. It happens in the NBA. But what they need is a little bit more proof of concept, which is what we thought they had when they beat the Bengals in week 1. Then they lose 6 in a row. Mayo's program works, the way we run our building, the way we practice, all these different things. And now you're staring at 3-10 and possibly 3-14 going, you have 1 fewer win than you did last year, and you're getting the best quarterback play you've had in 3 years. How does this work? So the schedule is difficult moving forward. I would actually pencil that Bills game as their most likely win. It's at home. I do think Buffalo's going to rest their starters. But you need something to sell other players or your players in your own building on. This can work. It just needs more time, and the best way to do that is win.
That was kind of my thought, too, about that Bills game. And then it was either Fred or Wallach who said, does it matter? I mean, does it matter if they're resting their starters?
Yeah, they're not going to rest all 22 of them. Yeah, that's. But at least they have a puncher's chance in that game. You understand? Like if Buffalo rests, 12 starters, and Josh Allen, you got a chance in that game.
Yeah, sure.
If you play hard.
Yep.
Yeah. But then you got the Buffalo team that's got guys playing for jobs next year, and then they're trying. So you get a whole mess because you would figure Buffalo's backup's probably about as good as New England starters outside of the quarterback position.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got some holes on defense. I mean, it would have to be the Drake May show, which is what it's always been.
Yeah.
But I think they can do it.
All right.
By the way, you were talking about identity and what we thought it was week 1 of the season. Well, we're entering week 15. What is the Patriots' identity other than having Drake May run around and make plays?
It's a great question. I think that's exactly it. I think we have Drake May. He's the face of the franchise. He's the reason you should come play for us. And offensively, their best, most consistent plays have been him creating. And I will say the running game has gotten better over the last 4 weeks, but it's still about league average. And so you're living and dying with this kid. When he can deliver in the fourth quarter, you win. Or get an early lead, you win. When he's throwing a pick in the last drive, well, you can't blame him because he was the only reason that you were really there in the first place.
Right. No, I don't hang much of, what's gone wrong, obviously, on him or even like the mistakes, like you say. It's tough to blame him because the only reason why you're close in these games is because of what he's doing. Do you fear at all for the way he's playing and the way he's, taking matters into his own hands about his long-term health viability? He seems to be, tough enough when it comes to getting out of the pocket and scrambling downfield and picking up yards on his own. But if they lose that, we know this is going to be a long process. Picking up another receiver next year won't matter if he's not playing. Is he going to be able to continue to play this way and stay healthy doing it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I already put my mea culpa out there. This is what I got wrong about the Patriots column a couple weeks ago, because I don't want to see Drake May behind the worst pass-protecting offensive line in the league.
Right.
I don't want the future of the franchise risked throwing to receivers who are running the wrong routes. Lo and behold, the kid is so good, it doesn't matter, because the Patriots' pass protection is still bottom of the league. Pick any metric, they're the worst. And he's overcoming that not just with the scrambles and his quick release, but his brain to get in and out of plays that put them in better position. So I think coming off a bye, when he's rested up like everybody else, only 4 games left to go, and the last time we saw him was his best game by any measure, accuracy, anticipation, decision-making against the Colts. I think he can survive and get through this next 4-game stretch just fine.
Can I ask you something going back to last week about the Lions game? Just
sure.
Very briefly here.
Yeah.
Depart from the Patriots for a moment. The decision-making down the stretch, getting stuffed on 3rd and inches, going for it on 4th and inches. I assume you were watching it live. What did you make of that?
So, zooming out really quickly, I love that the most meathead coach in the NFL is also the face of 4th down analytics in Dan Campbell. The least suspecting character you would have is the guy who is most backed by the numbers. That said, I would not have gone for it on 4th and inches. I would have just kicked the field goal. You're within like 90% accuracy range, indoors, fine condition, and I would have just taken the lead. There were, like 40 seconds left? But 38. I think the point that Dan Campbell's making is not only just sometimes, more often than not, the numbers are on his side. I think his mentality is more, I just want to kick your ass. And the more that I go for it on 4th and inches, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and I get it, the more I'm kicking your ass, and the harder you feel it, and the more my guys are emboldened. Now, we saw what happens when it goes the other way in the NFC Championship game, but more often than not, he's making the right decision, and that's all I care about.
That offensive line is so good.
So good.
And, when what's-his-face is at running back, I mean, you've got a pretty good...
Gibbs.
Not Jameer Gibbs.
Montgomery.
David Montgomery. You have a pretty good chance of getting it. And you saw in the Jets-Miami game, you kick the field goal, and then you don't kick it out of the end zone. You come back, tie the game pretty quick. So maybe he felt like he was better off having it go to overtime. I don't know what the deal was.
Can we talk about that game for a second, too? Because it wasn't even the field goal or the kick return. How about 3rd down? Rodgers throwing to Devontae Adams at the sideline and goes out of bounds. They could have run that clock down to 12 seconds. And you can talk to me about the Jets roster talent. They just get a competent head coach in there and a new GM, and maybe Rodgers isn't so bad. I don't know. Last 2 weeks have been fine. I think there's a case, crazy as this sounds, and as much as Miami has been beating the Patriots when they just show up anytime they're in the same place, because of how incompetent the Jets are, and Miami doesn't scare anybody else but the Patriots, Patriots could make a push for second place next year. I don't think that's insane. Watching games like that.
That's not insane at all. And the Jets roster being so great is not true. I did this exercise with my son yesterday. If you said, I got to keep guys under big contracts, who would you keep? I'd keep the Williams brothers on defense. I'd keep Garrett Wilson, and I'd keep that left tackle kid that they just drafted.
Shanu.
And that's it.
No sauce?
No.
No. He's been out on sauce ever since Kayshawn Booty beat him up the seam.
I've been on Sauce Gardner since he's not good.
Getting burned by Booty once. Out.
It's been a bad year. But
it's been a very bad year for him. He's bad. And I wouldn't pay that kid in a salary capped league like an elite corner. I'm not doing it. I'd take my chances otherwise. I'd re-sign DJ Reed, make him my number 1 corner. At least he'll tackle. And he got beat a bunch of times yesterday against Tyreek Hill. Look, the Jets didn't have Breece Hall or Sauce Gardner in that Miami game, and it's the best they played in weeks. So and Aaron Rodgers did play well in that game. I don't think he's going to play in the NFL next year, but he played well in that game.
Wallach scoffed at my second place suggestion.
I think that's very reasonable.
I just see how far this roster has to go. And I understand what you're saying. You're making good points about both teams, but I look at just a dearth of talent.
Do you
on
think
both
that?
sides.
Do you think this team at the end of November next season could be in the playoff hunt,
Well-
in that they're not eliminated, not in the divisional hunt, but in the playoff hunt, like a game or two under 500.
They got to hit on a lot of draft picks and convince a lot
I
of
don't
people
think
to come
so.
here during free
I don't think
agency.
so. I think that if you bring a receiver in for May, you take an edge rusher. I don't care who you take, an edge rusher, a lineman. I don't care who you take in the first round, and you fill in a few of those positions. And Mayo's got another year under his belt, maybe a new defensive coordinator. I think the Jets, with a new coach in Tyrod Taylor, are probably in the wild card discussion at the end of November. Miami's probably in the wild card discussion, and I think the Patriots could be in the wild card discussion.
Yeah, you're going to end up being better than. Okay, you're not going to, but it's easy to convince yourself you'd end up being better than the Jets. At least it would be for me.
Or the same,
Or the same as the
you're
Jets.
the same
So
right
it's-
now.
Yeah,
it's really
exactly.
Yeah, you're the same right now, and they're not going to have Aaron Rodgers next year. So really,
Well,
it's just
that's a good thing. But go ahead.
yeah, it's exactly. That's how
No, it is.
How,
It's-
how
it's
odd
undebatable.
Yeah,
I mean, it is.
Their record will probably improve.
It
by
was
getting
better
rid of
last year
Rodgers.
with Zach Wilson in the same roster, so worse roster.
But I can sit here if the original question is, could you see them being second in the division? Yeah, because I can say they could be better than the Jets. It's really just about things falling into place where you're better than Miami.
That's a narrow path to walk. I mean, you look at that offensive line. Say Andrews comes back healthy and plays center, which is a big if. Say Cole Strange comes back and plays left guard and remains healthy, which I think you will agree, a gigantic if. You're telling me Verdarian Lowe's going to hold up at left tackle?
You don't think
No.
that they could be 5-7? If the Cowboys don't lose last night, they're on the fringe of the playoffs. You don't think they could be 5-7 at
They're
this
gonna
time
win,
next season?
They're going to win 3 or 4 games this year. I'll have them penciled in with everyone maturing, and maybe Jalen Polk turns into something at wide receiver, and maybe they bring in a wide receiver. I got them penciled in for 6 wins next year, maybe 7. So if that's good enough to finish second in the division,
What
then
about the year
fine.
after?
Year after, I expect more. 2
I bet
years
you-
from now, if they,
I bet you they're 7-10 next year, and I bet you that they
2
challenge
years
for-
from now, I expect them to be contending for a playoff.
I bet
You
you
got them at 7-10 already next year.
Yes, because they have a quarterback. None of you guys realize how important that is, because you've always had one here. Not you so much, Hardee's, but your team has just always been a disaster.
I disagree. The quarterback's that important.
I love the idea
Touche.
of Wallach with a notebook where every team's record is just penciled in 2025. I want to know what more of those are.
Well,
Like
everyone
Patriots
thought
are
this-
6-11.
We're just talking about the division.
Everyone
I don't
thought
have
the
rest of
Steelers would be 10-3.
I don't have the rest of the league on
Everyone
lockdown,
thought the
but we're
Steelers
talking
would be
about the
10-3
division.
and Cincinnati would be 5-8. All right, listen, we got to go because we have to break. We have to come. Shut up, John. We have to break. You're stalling everything. We're already late. We got 2 stats and a lie, which
Love
we have
this.
to do. And maybe I don't talk myself in circles this time. My logic meter is way off.
That made me want to come to work this morning, thinking about you trying to navigate 2 stats in one line.
Because you know it legitimately bothered me because I think I'm losing my mind a little bit. And John actually was very kind. It was like, no, I don't think you are, because I legitimately think I'm losing like a part of my reasoning, which is not good for you guys because I'm armed. All right, here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
That's one lie. Won't you give it a try?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Be listening at 8:50 for your chance to score a $100 gift card for Arcadia Professional Body Piercing, offering an incredible selection of jewelry from implant-grade titanium to 14 and 18-karat solid gold with genuine gemstones or genuine gemstones. Gift cards are great for the holidays and available online at ArcadiaBodyPiercing.com. We're also brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. We have our friend Andrew Callahan in here. It is his segment, Two Stats, One Lie, where he gives us two statistics that are true and one that is false. I have to get that through my head, as the last 2 weeks I have.
So what are you trying to identify?
The one that's not true.
Okay, are you ready?
No, because I haven't heard the actual opening of this.
Let's do this. It takes two steps from the other nine. And one lie, see if you can get it right. It takes two steps from the other nine. And one lie, see if you can get it right.
Current standings: Fred at 4-8. I, Hardy, am at 5-8. John Wallach suckling hind teat at 2-11.
All right, here we go.
Andrew Callahan 27-11 on the season. He has fooled us 27 times. 11 times someone has identified the lie.
All right, and we're running out of runway.
Game. This is the jet game for me this week. This is it. We're
Yeah,
gonna pull the
because
upset.
are we even around? How many more times are we going to have Andrew on the show?
Next week.
You know?
And then
We'll all be
probably
here.
the week after we get back from the holiday break.
So there's three more chances. Is it today and then two more?
All right.
So John could conceivably pass me and conceivably catch Hardy. Conceivably.
Yes.
What I should do is just pick whatever John picks every week.
Get it wrong?
It doesn't matter. I'm still ahead of you.
You got to pick first this week.
Oh, is that
No,
right?
I picked first last week.
I don't remember. Andrew,
I did.
remember?
I remember.
Remember the order last week, Andrew?
He did, but
No,
I don't know
maybe
if
I
he made
didn't.
up his mind.
I'll pick first. Go ahead.
Okay.
Help me though if I'm doing my logic thing again wrong, because it's me not to.
I'll try.
Okay.
I know you tried last time.
We tried to talk you out of it.
All right, I'm picking the one that's a lie.
Yes. You remember that? We tried to talk
I
about
remember
it last
it.
week.
I remember it, dumbass. I realize my mental faculties. Or faculties? Go ahead.
Brad, the first two are short. Here we go. Number one, Drake May and Tom Brady are the exact same height.
Oh, God. All right. All right.
Number one, Drake May and Tom Brady are the exact same height.
Okay.
Number two, Bill Belichick never drafted a player from the University of North Carolina. Number two, Bill Belichick never drafted a player from the University of North Carolina. Patriots only. Number three, the Patriots' entire roster is scheduled to make less money than Juan's over the next 5 years. So the Patriots' entire roster is scheduled to make less money over the next 5 years than Juan Soto will with the Mets.
Okay. All right, I got it.
I'm going to say that one more time. Stumbled in the middle. Reset at number
No,
three.
I think we get it.
Just trying to help our guy.
Okay.
Patriots' entire roster is scheduled to make less money over the next 5 years than Juan Soto will with the Mets.
All right. So, Fred, if you've got it, great. If not, I'm just going to ask you real quick. Are Drake May and Tom Brady the exact same height?
I don't want to do that this way. I'm going to do it this way.
Oh, you've got it.
Juan Solo's salary for the Mets is more than the Patriots the next 5 years. How are you doing that math? How do you know what everyone's making?
You don't know what Drake May's going to make when he resigns.
Current cash spending, according to Over the Cap. So the money they've committed, cold hard cash.
That is true.
The next 5 years.
So that it will not be the lie.
I say that is true also. But you got to come up with one more that's true. Are Drake May and Tom Brady the same height? The exact same height. And by the way, can of worms with this thing, because you can get different heights on different pages.
This is true. That one took me more research than any others, but it's according to their NFL Combine.
So the lie is
Bill Belichick never drafted a player from North Carolina with the Patriots. I believe at some point he did. I'm going to say that's the lie.
You think his love of Lawrence Taylor has transferred? I do too. I think Belichick has taken. I think the lie is because true, Drake May and Brady are the same height. True, Juan Soto will make more than the Patriots roster over the next 5 years because we're not counting for raises. They're a very young team. I think the lie is Belichick has never drafted anyone from North Carolina.
I'm with you. I felt that way since
Even
I
if
heard
I'm
it the
wrong,
first
I
time.
win.
Yeah.
Even if I'm wrong, I win.
figuring
Because
it out.
I figured the game out.
I got it.
Fred and I both think number 2 is the lie.
Okay, the Patriots' entire roster will not make $700 million over the next 5 years due to over the cap, so I agree with you there. The question is, are Drake May and Tom Brady the same height? And I think, knowing Andrew, there's like 1 inch difference. He's going to be
Oh,
sneaky,
an inch
like,
is a lot. I mean, a half an inch or
whatever
a
the case
quarter
may
of an
be.
inch.
Can you totally see him saying, okay, Brady's 6'4.5", May's 6'4"?
Yes, I could see him saying that.
So
yes.
that would count if he got super cute and went. Let's all agree on this. If he gets super cute and they're like both 6'3" and 7, one's 6'3" and 7/8, and the other one's 6'3" and like whatever, like little tiny thing fraction.
Yeah.
This is a BS game, and this won't count against our
no,
records.
I do not agree to that. He gave it to you when you said the exact same height. So you can, if you want to say that's the lie right now and change your answer, you can. But we're not calling BS
Fred's
on the
giving
entire
himself an out,
exercise.
regardless. You
Yeah,
see that?
there is no out.
You got to commit to one.
Hardy learned.
I think
hard way.
I think that Andrew's better than that, and that if there's a difference in height that was so minuscule that it would be a cheap question, and I think he's better than that.
Which one are you going with, Wallach?
My first instinct was that 1 is the lie, so I'm going to differ from the two of you. 1 is the lie.
Wow. Action. I love the action.
Fred, I got some news. You're off the schneid, baby. You got me. Hardy and Fred win. Wallach.
Oh, John. Now what will be the punishment? Now what will be the punishment? Because John can't win. So John cannot win.
Andrew's got 2 stats. Andrew's got 2 stats.
I'm proud of you, Andrew.
One lie. But he's got 1 lie. Andrew's got 2 stats. Andrew's got 2 stats. But he's got 1 lie. But he's got 1 lie.
That is.
I thought he was petty. He wasn't.
Come on, girl.
He's exact, baby. Standings?
Go ahead and give us the answers first, and I'll give you this.
Okay. Drake May and Tom Brady both measured in at the NFL Combine at 6'4" and 3/8 inches.
Wow. Okay.
You will find Tom Brady 6'5", a little boost for him. Not the case. 6'4" and 3/8 inches. Number 2, Bill Belichick drafted 2 players from the University of North Carolina. The most recent one, Brandon Tate, second-round wide receiver in 2009. Before that, Dexter Reed, backup safety, won a Super Bowl as a rookie in 2004.
That's how I knew it.
Yes, you did. You're like Dexter.
Like Dexter Reed.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
And the Patriots over the next 5 years, according to cash spending at overthecap.com, are scheduled to spend $599,611,832. Juan Soto, as we know, will make at least $765 million. So, a.k.a. $165 million more than the entire Patriots roster.
All right.
For now.
Well, excellent job, Andrew, and you stayed credible by doing that. And we'll have to think of some kind of punishment for John because he literally cannot tie or win.
Nope.
Fred now 5-8. I moved to 6-8. John Wallach
2-12.
A pathetic 2-12. Andrew Callahan has fooled us 28 times. He has been caught 13 times. 28 and 13.
Which is right about where he should be.
Just
So
barely above.
So you'll continue that. I mean, we can't beat you because there's only 6 more opportunities.
But if you win twice like you did this week, next week, then I'm below what I should be.
Oh,
which
all
is
right,
a 66% winning percentage. So then I would theoretically be punished, but we can cross that bridge.
All right. Well, John's definitely the
It's not gonna
loser.
happen.
We all know
Just
that. But here we go. All right. Thank you, Andrew. Everyone read him in the Herald. Everyone loves him. Car number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985. We'll score a $100 gift card for Arcadia Professional Body Piercing, offering an incredible selection of jewelry from implant-grade titanium to 14 and 18 karat solid gold with genuine gemstones. Gift cards are great for the holidays and available online at ArcadiaBodyPiercing.com. We'll be right back. You've all told me about Stephen A. Smith, and I have listened. We will explore his newest comments in just a moment.
You're listening. HD Boston.
Patriots!
From the opening kickoff to the final play.
Touchdown!
Your home of the pass. 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots are back out on the practice field after going through their bye week. Marcus Jones was missing, but rookie tackle Caden Wallace was out there after sitting out with a left leg injury since week 4 of the season. The team will visit Arizona this coming Sunday. ESPN and The Athletic are reporting that former Patriots head coach Bill Belichick continues to discuss the vacancy at the University of North Carolina. A resolution one way or another is expected this week. Bruins will be in Winnipeg tonight to play the Jets. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 7:30 and the face-off at 8 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. David Pastrnak sat out practice yesterday. He's questionable for tonight with what the team is calling an upper body issue. The Major League Baseball winter meetings are continuing in Dallas. Red Sox are interested in signing free agent third baseman Alex Bregman and moving him to second base. Also, the Seattle Times is reporting that earlier this offseason, the Red Sox offered first baseman Tristan Casas to the Mariners for either Bryce Miller or Brian Wu, who are both starting pitchers, and got turned down. And Colorado two-way player Travis Hunter, Boise State running back Ashton Genty, Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel, and Miami QB Cam Ward are the 4 finalists for this year's Heisman Trophy. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Sylvan Street Grill annual holiday gift card sale. Get 20% off all gift card purchases now through Tuesday, December 10th at Sylvan Street Grill in Peabody and Salisbury. I'm John Wallach of Boston Talk for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Some people play the game.
Blocked by Horford.
Some talk about
Let's welcome to the Sports Hub Celtics show, by the way. Jim Martin, Chris Gasper.
The Sports Hub Celtics show with Murray and Gasper. Saturdays at noon on the Sports Hub. Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wallach?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Hub.
Like, oh, I wish I were out there.
Yeah, I wish but Adam will be. He'll be out there wearing a collared button-down shirt while he exercises.
I was excited to see that it's not raining so I can go for a hike later on.
Yeah.
Where were you hiking when you posted that Instagram video? It looked like it was
the one last week.
Yeah, through like a gas line easement.
No, it's in a it's like a subdivision, but the deal is when they put the subdivision in, they had to allow access to a nearby wildlife area. So it's like on the Lexington-Woburn line.
Allow access to the non-residents of said subdivision?
Correct.
Okay.
There's a special parking area we have so we can go on our little hikes. It's nice.
Yeah, he's one of these guys that goes, like, if you were at the Y and somehow you got him in, he'd be like in pants with a belt and a button-down shirt working out.
I don't understand why I'm supposed to change my clothes to go for a hike. That's ridiculous.
Because you do it for exercise, correct?
Yes.
So you would wear something that absorbs sweat, something that's easily movable. Like, would you go to the gym would you go run on a treadmill?
It's a completely different activity. Like that's high impact cardio. I'm going for a walk through the woods.
Would you? Yes, but that's for exercise, right?
Sure, yeah, but I'm not like. I mean, I'm breathing a little bit, maybe breaking a little bit of a sweat, but I'm not like pouring sweat.
You're getting very fat.
Listen, Hardy and I were talking about that last week. I asked him. I said, when you started doing this morning shift, you put on a couple of LBs, and he said, yes, I did, and he told me exactly how many, and that's exactly how many I put on. I'm not happy about that.
I was joking about you being fat, Adam.
I know you were.
I didn't know you and Hardy were such hens talking about each other's weights.
Well, then I discussed what I started doing to dial that back a little bit. And
Ozempic?
No, it's a wonderful program of not eating like I almost swore, like a pig. 3 times before noon, which is what I was doing every day.
I'm not hungry. Well, you make fun of the overnight oats, but if you ate overnight oats, you wouldn't eat after the show.
Did you just have them like during a break a couple last hour?
Because I
don't want really nice.
You enjoy them.
I did.
Huh?
It was a nice.
I didn't want to get them all over the microphone.
Yeah.
So I'll eat alone, and that's fine with me.
You want me to come watch you while you eat?
You come talk to me. You're all right.
Yeah?
We're buddies.
Yeah, we're pals.
You can sit there. It's not like I'm dipping cheese sticks in ranch and eating them in the morning like Wallach used to.
I can have my snack at the same time. We can have like a little.
You and I have our own little thing.
Okay.
We'll go in the kitchen and we'll eat together. because God forbid I get it on the microphone.
Breadsticks and ranch sounds real good right now.
I'm still a little miffed at Kendra because I knew it. Like, you know when you know like someone's going to do something and then they do it and you're like, ugh. Like, that's the thing. Is that like deliberately sitting where I'm sitting, where she could have sat at another seat. And then I knew she was going to complain about the microphone.
That's the bit, though.
Yeah, but make another one. Like, you know, that's my disappointment. It's not that it's like I care about like it being gross. It's my disappointment that I knew it was going to happen. And when I asked Hardy, I knew it was going to happen. I take it Hardy made fun of me, but Hardy makes fun of me in funny ways that are different every time. And a lot of times,
I actually defended you on that because of the overnight oats.
Oh, well, whatever. But anyway.
But I did say that the slurping of the overnight oats was something that was causing me to have misophonia.
Yeah,
and that
but that's a family. Your family's got the misophonia. If you told me the slurping the overnight oats bothered you, I would stop eating it in front of you. I swear to God I would, because I do think that you have it. Like, I think your wife has gotten you so crazy.
Is it contagious?
No. But like if you, dude, you know about it.
But
You're an anxious guy. Like if someone says something that they have like a phobia or like some kind of anxiousness, especially when I was a kid, I'd immediately get it.
Right.
So I think if I lived with someone, because your wife's real bad with it, right? Like she can't stand people eating and stuff like that, right? Yeah. So like I think if I lived with that,
you could stop it. Can't stand people.
Okay. Yeah, right.
You could end your sentence.
But if I was around someone all the time that if I was eating or anyone was eating around him, it was like really pissing him off. I could see when I went into the world carrying that with me, absolutely. And that to me is justifiable. Like if you said it bugs me when I eat that in front of you, I wouldn't eat in front of you.
But I wouldn't, because I also know I put it on myself. Like first thing in the morning, I come in here, John and I are sitting in here alone, and John types very loud.
I do.
He is, for all I know, transcribing Moby Dick in here every morning, because it's, I mean, right, pages upon pages of something.
It's like that Simpsons when Homer wanted to get working comp for being fat, and he got that bird that went.
Remember? So yeah, I
didn't see that coming. That's pretty good.
But he's
half Adam.
You know, he's tired. I'm tired. I'm not going to say anything. He's over there typing. He's working. You come in here. You want to eat before you go on the air. What am I going to do? I'd be a real prick to say, "Hey, you're eating too loud." No. How about Hardy? You just deal with it yourself. Which is when I hear it, I just put the headphones on. I listen to the end of the Ben Maller show.
No, but if it bothered you because I could get it. And so I just want to eat. I just want to eat it in front of you. I don't have a problem with that.
You can look. It's fine.
It's not hard for me not to eat in the studio.
It's not hard for me to put my headphones on.
I made John, and this is the only thing I've ever made anyone do. When John was, do you know the cheese stick story?
Yeah.
Yes.
And John, if the audience doesn't know, when we first started, in like, you know, we were under a lot of pressure, and we didn't know John. John would take cheese sticks and dip them in a thing of ranch, and then like take them out and like slurp them. And I don't have that.
I don't think slurping. Eating, yes. I don't think I slurped the ranch dressing off.
Have I ever bothered you about anything else that you've ever eaten?
No.
Or anything else that you've ever done in studio off air?
No.
It was bad. Like,
of course
like for
it was.
Me to, okay.
Looking back at it, it was gross.
All right,
of course it was.
But it's over. It's 15 years ago. There's
Yes.
nothing to defend. It's just thing. So I know, like, but that was an extreme example because even other people were like, all right, that's gross. If that bothers you, it's a gross consistency. It looks gross on there. There's no bowls here. I could see that being gross. I could see the overnight oats
You
being
who
gross.
says if something, you find someone is bothered by something, you tend to lean into it.
Not in real life. Not like not off air. Or like like on the phone or something. But not someone I'm working with that it was like really bothering. Like that's what people don't understand about the radio. Yeah, like it's fun on the radio because we were here to entertain. I don't have to entertain anyone in my real life, so I'm not like going out of my way to bother people in my real life. Going out of my way to not bother people in my real life. In fact, I'm well overly concerned about who I'm bothering because I realize I bother a lot of people.
But I'm also thankful that we can have this conversation under the guise of it being entertaining for everyone else to listen to, because I know other people in their workplaces have these same issues, and they can't say anything.
617-779-09. No, but
No,
you're right.
again,
No, you're absolutely right.
You know what? I should do my wife a favor right now, because there's someone in her office, and she, goes in a few days a week, who has a habit of slurping like hard candies, and it might drive her to the brink of insanity.
I would like that, because I think that would have an ASMR effect on me.
She can't say anything. Because, it's an office place.
But that's every workplace environment has one of those. Everyone comes in and, heats up broccoli. There's one person who heats up something really smelly in the microwave. There's someone who fish, broccoli, whatever.
Do you eat in front of her at home?
Yeah.
Do you have to watch, how you eat?
I catch myself sometimes, especially if it's something loud like chips. If it's taco night and we've got some tortilla chips to go with it, she'll tell the kids, chew with your mouth closed, please. Calvin! Chew with your mouth closed, please.
Has she ever investigated, on her end, what's going on?
No.
Okay.
There's been no self-reflection. And I've tried to help her. When we first got our Reed's Ferry shed installed, I said, you can use it as, your little time away. She was put off by the phrase menstruation hut, which she did not like. But I told her
because all the neighborhood dogs would start coming around.
I told her she could put some candles out there and some magazines.
Put up a sign.
Yeah, you gave her the orange bucket, the 5-gallon there with the magazines in it.
Did you put up the menstruation hut sign?
No,
right
there's no
doorway?
sign, but that was just a safe
a
safe space for her to go, and it wouldn't even have to be for a few times a month, just when the noise is inside. The people that she lives with, are married to, created with her own body, when we're all driving her nuts by doing things like chewing and breathing.
Sure.
She can go there and get away from us for a little while, but she didn't want to take me up on it, so I don't know how to help her.
At my age and as I gain wisdom, if I were her, what I would do is I'd go, I can't change the world. Maybe I can change my perception of how these things are bothering me, and maybe we can get to the root of this. And maybe I can make myself so this stuff selfishly too. It would be completely selfishly, I'm never going to be able to make the person stop sucking candy, or the person do this, the person do that. I can control my bubble, but if this stuff is bothering me that much, is there a way? Because it doesn't bother other people. Is there a way that I could make it so it doesn't bother me as much?
No, I mean, outside of the outside noises, she's largely a very content person. I think she's quite happy just without any...
I didn't say she's not happy. I'm just saying that particular thing.
You and I will get troubled by our own persons. She does not bother herself.
That's right. It's a bit of... right.
You're
saying she's female.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's the other people around me that are causing me distress.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with me.
Well, you're a trooper.
It's them.
In that case.
I wish I could go through life like that.
I've thought that. I
really wish I
so
could
many
do
times. And his wife's lovely, and that's just it's like a funny thing with the senses. There's when you get a real one, like my ex-mother-in-law. You almost envy it. Wow. You think you are really something. Against all evidence.
It doesn't even have to be for the rest of my life. I wish a day, 3 days.
Yeah, because
where I could feel that way.
Because as much as you do bad stuff and suck.
Yeah.
How can you not ever see it in yourself?
Right. But that's all that matters. Your thoughts are your only reality, right? So if your belief is I can do no wrong and I'm the best, even in the face of great evidence that that's not true, it's got to be a fun way to live. I'm always right. Now, there's names for it and things of that nature.
Based on your explanation of your former mother-in-law, that's spot on. I've never met her, but I only know what I know from her based on what you've told me.
If you met her, you go, okay. No one's met her and went, oh. No, everyone that's
met her say, oh, that's a narcissist.
You could see her from... that's one term. There's you could be 10 yards away from her and go, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I see.
Got it.
I see what's going on here.
I only think I met her once, but I heard about one reaction that she had, and that was when had to have been maybe Milo's first birthday. A big party we were forced into.
Yeah.
And I got Milo as a gift a collection of things I found at the radio station. And it was a grandma's coffee cake.
That's funny, yeah.
It was hell of a good dip. And it was a bunch of Schick Lady razors. And I put them all like in this fun, like,
I remember that.
kid's bag. And your mother-in-law, you told me, flipped out. What kind of gift is this for a baby? Who would do this?
All right, real quick story. At my wedding that was in Grand Bahama Island and had 200 guests, and was not a cheap affair. This my mother-in-law had put like a little bag of cookies on every table. Comes the end of the wedding, I'm up thanking everyone for coming out. There is a gigantic moaning from the crowd. She comes up, takes the microphone, and says, by the way, I put the cookies on
No,
every table."
she did that?
Yes.
I've never heard that story before.
Well,
my God.
Well, you heard when she threw herself on the coffin.
Yes, no, I remember that story well.
Yeah.
I'll tell
She
that
hadn't
story
thought
to
about
friends.
that
I
at
tell
all.
that story to friends of mine.
But again,
I mean, it
Brilliant.
really happened. Like that's like something that's like in a. I think you should
And
leave.
I
skit.
put the cookies on all the tables. She actually did that.
This wasn't a
Yes.
retirement party at a VFW. This was a wedding.
This was
in
my
the,
a
a
very
destination
nice
wedding in the Bahamas.
A classy, nice,
God.
Yeah.
Bahamian wedding. Like, you know, catered with a real touring band. Like everything was there. And I'm such an a-hole, I didn't think of the cookies on the table as I had just gotten married. And so there you go. And stayed sober through the whole thing so I could make the speeches, like did all this stuff. Like I tried. And then the whole.
But you also failed to consider that everyone at the wedding was wondering, where did these cookies come from, and who do I have to thank for it? So you didn't factor that in.
No, I made the mistake of thanking her ex-husband for paying for most of it. Was what my problem was. That's what she didn't like.
Wow.
And I think my parents paid for like the rehearsal dinner or something, which was down there, and everyone was invited to because it was like a destination.
Yeah, that's nice.
And so I think I thanked them, and then I think that's what pissed her off. Well, I made the cookies. Well, it's not the same. Relax. You should be embarrassed. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment.
idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. You can find our emails by going to 985thesportshub.com. And Nick works very hard on his videos and content he puts out. He runs the @Toucher and Hardy Twitter and Instagram pages. I am now 200 clear of 24,000 followers on Instagram, and I just keep pumping out content. Content. I show you everywhere I go. And then when I reach that magic number, wherever that magic number is, I slide on into a retirement of social media stardom.
Is the goal 25K or is the goal to catch Kendra? I forget which it is.
Good question.
I haven't been keeping up to date with Kendra. The last time I
Shred
knew,
28,000 and change, I think.
Yeah, I guess it's too. I would like to keep. I would like to
Certainly catchable, Fred.
I would like to catch Kendra.
Okay, so it's
yesterday
not 25K.
she was eating dumplings.
I saw this. Yes,
at a dumpling place. I'll help her out.
So if you get to 25K, restaurants will begin to invite you to do this.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
Oh, Kendra's just a few away from 30,000.
Oh boy.
And so she does that by going to like dumpling houses and eating them.
She's increasing her lead on you. It used to be 3K. Now it's closer to 5.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because I have this blowtorch at my disposal every day, and it's not getting me the followers.
What are you putting up on Instagram, though, that would encourage people and make people want to follow you?
I put Nick's videos up that he makes.
We need more of you.
Yeah, more original content.
Yes.
I don't know how to edit video.
That's okay. Start simple. Photos.
Well, I put the photos I put up are very, very popular. They do the best,
yes.
Especially if my family's in them. See, I put a photo up of being at the Thanksgiving Day game because I figured our audience is all watching the Thanksgiving Day game. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I'm here. Maybe they'd think that was neat, but I got to start just putting a picture of myself everywhere I go.
Like a dinner afterwards, the Thanksgiving dinner afterwards.
So every like intimate moment with my family.
You don't want to overdo it, though.
Bring it in. Well,
you want to do a little more than you're doing now, but not every single
Is it possible to? I mean, Tony P in DC just showed me how to do his interior decorating. He took a round object and put it in the corner because he liked the way that brought out the roundness of the object.
How's he doing these days? I don't follow him.
The same as he was doing when you were following
Fantastic.
him? There's not a lot. Not a lot has changed.
He's still a bachelor. He's still in D.C.
Yeah, he's 25 or 26,
Something
whatever.
like
He
that.
changed ages. I know that.
Living that life.
Exactly. Big listener of the show. He listens every day, and I'm not making that up. So hello, Tony P in D.C., and I wish you a lot of luck. Dave Sullivan, who talks all the time, he says, I pulled the Fred. I remembered Brandon Tate, so I knew 2 was a lie, and I said 1. Fred, my IQ is 126, so don't feel bad. Is 126 very low or a high?
I don't know. I kind of have a feeling that anybody who knows their IQ maybe isn't all that smart to begin with. Sorry, Dave. But any of us ever taken an IQ test? Anybody know what their IQ is?
No.
Nope.
No.
But it is, look, he got tripped up just like the way you used to get tripped up, Fred, in 2 stats and 1 lie, but that ain't you no more.
It's funny because I would have about a 500 record if I just told myself
Understood
how the game
the
was
game.
played. Yeah.
Thomas,
if I didn't get so excited I knew one, like I would just go, that's the one I know.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's the one I know.
No, that's true. And that's not the one.
Yeah, exactly.
Thomas O'Malley said, Hardy, I dated a nut job that carried plastic silverware for herself and others because she flipped out at hearing teeth on metal silverware.
So she had the little spork packet with her wherever she went?
She brought it for herself and others. He said, I left that relationship faster than Zoe at the end of his show. So I think Billy Bob Thornton has a bit of that too, because he puts, guys will put themselves in their movies a little bit. And I think it's Monsters Ball. He always shows up at the ice cream place and asks for a plastic spoon. He can only have plastic spoons.
If you're a hot girl, like a hot woman, you can get away with an awful lot. It's going to take an awful lot to get anyone to notice.
I don't know, that silverware thing, that would be weird to me.
But the problem is if you get in the habit of acting like that and then you date someone you really like, you're going to run them off because once they get tired, they get used to you, like used to having sex with you, then those things are going to start becoming annoying that were ignored. So that's where you got to be careful.
Speaking of the sex there, Fred, for Wallach, who is now going to lose the 2 stats and 1 lie season-long battle.
Yeah, there's no option. He is losing.
Mathematical certainty. This is from RC. His punishment, John should get smothered by a skinny, petite, bony-assed woman. Oh, he'll hate it.
I don't see any problems with that.
Well, we just need somebody to volunteer.
Yeah, and then
preferably.
they could never go back on the volunteering, or they could never complain about it afterwards.
Gross.
Yeah, I know, and you don't like that anyway. But I will tell you this, is that I understand now what's going on with the Howard Stern show. You had told me about it, and now I understand. I understand completely what's going on. I know why they have to do what they're doing. I get Stern now. I never used to get it. So I listened to a couple of the new shows, and Artie, since he has been off the show, has said, wow, the show got really gay. Like they're doing like a lot of really gay stuff, which is neither bad nor good. But there is a tremendous amount of penis content, like nude penises, guys doing some stuff to each other's penises, going out and seeing operations made on penises, talking to guys that are having plastic surgery on their penises. Like every show, there's a tremendous amount of penis stuff. You know why? Because you can't do anything with women anymore. Like they could never do the Sibian. They could never even have women come in and get topless. They just could never do any of that. So the whole thing has got to be the dudes doing stuff to each other. If you're going to have quote unquote sexual content, it's got to be guys doing it to guys. That's the only way you can get away with it. I don't think it's by choice or they go, this is phenomenal stuff. Like we should do penis stuff every day. I just think you can't do anything with women anymore. Women have won, and now it's men who have to degrade themselves.
But is that the only option for the show, is to do something degrading and sexual?
I think that the idea is that if they don't, then that was so much of the identity of the show, which I would even disagree with. But if they don't do it, then it's not edgy anymore, and you're turning off that part of your audience.
Okay, well, that could be it.
I thought I figured it out. I think I'd be a fantastic programmer.
Cam said, Hardy, your wife is bothered by people chewing loudly, but you drilling into her nail.
Oh, stop it.
A few years ago wasn't too far.
Drilling into what?
And she said into her toenail a few years ago. I remember them playing the video on the simulcast and blurring out the blood. It wasn't her toenail, it was her fingernail, and she had gotten her finger caught like in the heavy glass shower door, and it was like a painful like blood blister underneath the nail.
Big argument in the house.
No, there wasn't an argument. I said, I will fix that for you. We did a little Friday night home surgery.
Before you get anyone to look at it.
And I just...
They start asking questions.
And there was no noise from the drill. You just take a very small, like 1/16 drill bit and just twist it with your fingers until you penetrate the nail bed, and boom, then you get the geyser, and all that pressure is released. And
how does it smell?
It had no smell other than the coppery smell of blood.
Yeah.
But Zoe said they used to do it with a hot needle in the locker room.
Oh, I've heard this story.
Yeah,
yes,
guys would all the time, have these terrible like blood blisters underneath their toenails from getting stepped on, and the only way to alleviate the pain was to pierce that nail, and boom, then you get the explosion of blood and the pressure is released, and she felt better after that.
I think you'd feel pretty good because yesterday I assembled and got a record player working.
A turntable?
What kind of turntable you got there, guy?
An Audio
Technica?
No, it's not that, but it's got a speaker in it because I didn't want to mess around anymore. No, it's not portable. No, it's a piece. It's a piece of art. It's furniture.
It's a piece of crap. It's got a speaker built into it.
Don't listen to him. Tell me more about the turntable.
It was suggested by the New York Times.
Well, see?
How much is one of those things
Yeah,
cost?
the failing New York Times.
It was $260.
$260 for a turntable.
With a speaker.
With a speaker.
Included. I'll
How's
take
it?
a picture of it. I had to put the
Hey,
counterweight on the needle.
Put it up on Instagram. That's what you need to do.
That's a great
That's
idea,
what you
John.
need to
That's
do.
the content.
I had to
Take
put
it for a spin, literally.
I had to put the belt from the turntable onto the knob and then manually turn it to reset the turntable so it would work.
Oh, serious business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't for the weak. There were instructions that had no words. It was that difficult. It was all done by
IKEA
pictures.
situation?
But they would have exclamation points to like ba 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 ba. Like for instance, when you're pulling off the cap off the needle, you had to pull it off horizontally. That didn't say horizontally, but it was more with an arrow. Showed the arrows.
You don't want to damage the stylus.
That is, you said it, not me. I mean, that's Adam12 at adam12.com. If you want to get in touch with him.
Did you ever play records on the radio, like actual vinyl records?
No.
Oh, I
Did you, Hardy? I did.
Oh yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Less because of when I started and more because of when I started. It was where I started was at FNX, and we still had turntables. That
We were still doing them in Lansing at that station that wouldn't hire you, Fred.
Yep, The Edge, where they said I was terrible.
Yep.
You put a thing of a book that you were reading, Adam, about college radio. It seems very interesting.
Yes. Would you like to borrow it?
No.
Okay.
And who's Sarantino? Is that the guy's name?
No. Man.
From FNX.
Oh, sorry. Henry Santoro. Yes.
Santoro.
Yes.
They made up a whole thing about him.
Yeah.
That he would go, he said he would sleep until 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Then he would go out every night to see shows because he had to be he had to know what was going on in the clubs.
Yeah.
And then he would drive in and do his morning show after that.
Yeah.
And you know what I say to that? That might have happened twice.
Oh, he did. He did it more than that, my friend. His first gig in radio was he was the guy who the intern had to go in and wake up Billy West and say, "Hey, Billy, it's time to go on the air with Charles."
Did he have a big, huge spaz attack about it after he was asked, like Bird did when I asked him to call me, and everyone said what a jackass I was? Even though everyone does that, every morning show host has someone who calls them up, except at this radio station. What the nerve of the guy to ask for that?
The best part was Bert. The thing that really brought it to everyone's attention that day was Bert flipping out once you got in.
Management told me to lay off because it was making me sound like a dick, and they never did that.
Bird never gets upset about anything. He was livid at you that morning.
Yep.
He was really angry.
You would like Henry Santoro. I saw him at Celtics Media Day.
I think I would like him too. But I do not. But I do not believe that he went to. There's no need to.
Every single night he would go out. Fred.
If he did that, it's the most useless waste of time. Or he did it for fun. He didn't have to go see bands every night.
Yes, he did.
What, to not play them?
To know what the word was on the street, dumbass.
So he missed the 2 Boston bands that were any good? Get out of here.
Wow.
What Boston bands were so good?
The Stompers.
What year?
I'd love to tell you, but we should really get to headlines.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We'll get to headlines. Well, you think of
positive.
A big list of all the great rock bands out of Boston from that era. I'll wait. Okay. We'll be back. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines. Toucher and Hardy.
Today we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. We are presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. What's going on, Hardy?
Well, we were talking about Bill Belichick's girlfriend earlier, Jordan Isabella. Apparently, she had a horrific incident over the weekend. She posted about it on her Instagram story. She was injured, Fred, in a DoorDash accident, according to her post.
Did she have Bill posing as the DoorDash guy?
No, but there are other things here in the photo that we can investigate a little bit. She said, I am officially done with DoorDash. A DoorDash driver left a broken glass bottle on my porch in the dark. I sliced my middle finger open on said bottle, in which resulted in needing stitches.
That's a truly spectacular sentence.
Well, she's also a genius of philosophy.
All DoorDash support said was, sorry for the inconvenience, and refunded me, all caps, in DoorDash credits.
What they should have done is given her a lot of money like the old guy does.
It looks like it was reported as a wine bottle, but this appears to be a bottle of Schweppes tonic, maybe ginger ale.
You mix that with the Metamucil, then he has bowel movement.
Like, what else was in there? A nice bottle of Clamato.
Yeah.
Did you?
What was the thing? Clamato's clam tomato
Clam
juice.
and tomato juice that no one drinks under the age of 70.
What was the castor oil, or what was the thing that they used to always have to have in like the Leave It to Beaver?
Yeah, castor oil.
Castor oil. Give me my lemon. Give me my castor oil.
Has the milk of magnesia been delivered yet?
All these Anacin are having an effect on my stomach.
Doesn't your dad still take Anacin?
No, his stomach exploded. He can't take it anymore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He almost died. We almost died out because he took Anacin for 45 years, and it made a hole in his stomach, and he fell, and it burst, and all the blood came into him. He became septic. Very fortunate to be alive. Took him 10 seconds to fix, but it was very fortunate to be alive.
Fred is somebody who's been on the dating apps. You will find this interesting. Tinder does their year in swipe report, and they identify trends taking place in dating apps and profiles and things like that. Specifically in Australia, the most common phrase posted in Tinder profiles is...
That's not a knife. We have fun.
Do not talk to me if you're not looking for something, what?
Long term.
Close enough.
Real?
Serious.
Oh, serious.
Do not talk to me if you're not looking for something serious. That appeared in more dating profiles in Australian Tinder more than anything else. Daters are demanding transparency and intention, as well as open communication as part of this new trend they have called loud looking.
Yeah, I'm not on Tinder. I'd never been on. I was on Tinder for like a second when I first was available, and then I realized quickly.
Isn't the idea of Tinder like a quick hookup to pretend you're somebody else and then leave?
That's Bumble.
That's Bumble, sorry.
No, Bumble's kind of. I'm not on Bumble anymore either. I was on Bumble, and now I'm not on Bumble.
Oh,
either.
Bumble's not like that?
No, but
Bumble's
I don't.
nicer?
Yeah, but I don't like Bumble.
Why not?
I don't think it's a good app.
We've been discussing
when you have
this.
a face like this, the world is my app.
Exactly. We've been discussing Luigi Mangione. Do you know who Luigi Mangione is? We've been talking about him here this morning.
Luigi Mangione, Chuck Mangione's brother. He also
could be. We don't know that he's not.
No.
He is the gentleman who has been taken into custody for
shooting a CEO.
Yes. CEO of United Healthcare.
That's right.
Well, how'd they catch him? He seemed to be good at it. Like he seemed to be like as good as you could be at like sneaking up to a guy and killing him.
Well, he was hiding in plain sight at a McDonald's where an employee spotted him eating, and they notified the authorities and said, "Hey, this looks like the guy that his picture's been all over the news." And they found him, in possession with a gun, a silencer, fake ID, and a handwritten manifesto talking about health insurance. So kind of looks like it could be the guy, but now people are investigating Luigi Mangione. And you know what he has posted on, Fred? Goodreads. You know what?
Oh.
You know what book he really liked?
What's that?
Steve-O's book.
Which one? He's got several.
A hard kick in the nuts, what I've learned from a lifetime of terrible decisions. Reviewed by Luigi Mangione. He gave it 3 out of 5 stars. He said, rather than showing us his life, Steve-O mostly tells us his reflections on events and preaches the lessons we should learn from them. The stories lack dialogue in specific moments, making them generally unengaging, which is a shame because Steve-O has lived a wild life full of unique experiences.
Yeah, but he already wrote the biography, and that's not it. That's like when Nikki Sixx released the Heroin Diaries and then said, oh, that did well. Let's do 17 more. Well, you already did the Heroin Diaries. Wasn't that the Heroin Diaries?
Yeah.
Or is that the one are these all the ones the editor said not to put in the first one because they weren't good?
I can't imagine reading anything that I would enjoy more than The Dirt that has to do with any member of Motley Crue.
Yeah, The Dirt, I mean, is obviously way better.
Yeah.
But I think Heroin Diaries was released as trying to like kind of piggyback on The Dirt.
Right.
No, it certainly wasn't anywhere near as good as The Dirt.
What's the bathtub one that you
Hepatitis Bathtub and Other Stories.
and you
from
say
No
that's
Effects.
better than The Dirt?
It's way better than The Dirt. Wow. Unless, and this isn't, it's an oral history and it's not, and it's by 4 idiots, I mean, self-described idiots, but it's not as easy to read as The Dirt. Because I've had a person or two go, like, it's just not as good. Well, because you're not reading it. It's not like Tommy Lee talking. It's, a guy, terrible, terrible things are happening in the book. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And the other guys in the book don't know about it. And they're like contradicting the guy's story because the guy doesn't really know what happened. And it's like raping and death and stuff like that. And the guy, it's quite fascinating. And it's funny too. And the star of the book is the guy who's sober now. It's the drummer, Smiley.
Oh.
There you go. All right. Well, listen. It's been real and it's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun. How many shows you got left, Ball Man?
5. Week from today is my last day.
How many days you got left?
8.
Yeah, I got 7.
So you're done at the end of next week.
Thursday's my last
You're
day.
doing Thursday.
Yeah.
And you got the full week.
I got the full week next week.
I thought I had the full week, but then I
got that extra day.
I know why I had last Friday off is because before I knew I was going to Detroit.
Oh, wait a second. I take that back. I had the same number as you do because I'm off on this Friday.
Why?
My daughter's having surgery.
Oh. All right.
She's getting her wisdom teeth out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What, your wife's too good to go? What, it's going to bother her poor hearing?
So we got another day with Danny, right?
Hearing the bones ripped out of the...
Yeah, she can't,
I can't take it.
She can't handle that. You know what an 18-year-old girl would like? Film her when she's on the anesthesia and put it up on give it to me. I'll put it on my Instagram. Maybe get some followers.
It's all they can talk about. My son has talked about it. Are you going to film her? Are you going to film her? Like, stop it. Probably.
How about you and I? We'll just get our hands on some fentanyl. We'll take it ourselves, and we'll just sit around and talk and shoot in the breeze.
You want to see something there, Danny? Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fent and having some fun. All right. They don't give you fentanyl, by the way, when you get your wisdom tooth pulled. That'll do it for us every. They give you ketamine. That's in a mixture when they extracted my tooth.